When it's like me, I go out of my mind. It's like me, baby, I've reached the Pritchard line.
From the woods of Vancouver Island, welcome to the Soda Stream. Isha Jerome here alongside the State of Hoppy, and we're bringing in our friend Seth Topol right off the bat. Thank you to everybody, wherever and whenever you are listening. Again, thanks everyone tuning in live tonight. We're doing another Soda Stream here on the Soda, I was going to say the Soda Pods YouTube channel. No, the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. So really excited to watch this game, talk hockey with a ton of our guests here tonight, as well as all of you joining us live on Twitter and YouTube. We're totally interactive, so hit us up in the comments, subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network feed, and check us out as well at the Soda Pod. But we'll get into that a little bit more in the stream. Boys, how's it going?
It's going well. Very well.
In Soda Pod fashion, he brings in something to drink there, and we'll get into what we're drinking in this stream too, because for those of you who listen to the Soda Pod, you know we're a craft beer Minnesota and, well, just all things hockey podcast. Tonight, we're going to be watching the Minnesota Wild take on the Nashville Predators with you and just talk all things about this game and more. Hoppy, how are you this evening?
Oh, just wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Thanks for asking. Again, hit us up in the chat. We're mostly interactive here on YouTube, so check us out there. Again, the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. I mean, right off the bat, we're asking you guys, who do you got? Who do you got winning this game and why? Nashville Predators fans who tune in, Wild fans, and our Soda Pod listeners who tune in. We're totally interactive here. Like we said, we're just hanging back, drinking a few beers, watching the game with you. And again, we will talk a little bit about what's been going on in the NHL as well. We have a ton of guests in the show, like I said, starting with Seth riding shotgun right off the bat. So we'll introduce everybody here in a moment. But first, want to give a huge and quick shout out to our friends at 7th Ave Pizza, Northland Vodka, and DraftKings. Again, we'll talk more about them in this live presentation. And just a reminder, if you haven't followed the Hockey Podcast Network on YouTube or just any of the podcasts under this great network, please go do so at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com. And you can find us at the Soda Pod, again, at the Soda Pod, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and also a lot of the podcasts we have under our umbrella. If you like prospects, every Tuesday we have Judd's Buds, hosted by Spoked Z. If you're on Wild Twitter or just hockey Twitter, you know Spoked Z well. That's a great podcast under the Soda Pod feed. We also have MNCAA, all college hockey talk within the great state of Minnesota every Friday. And if you're a fan of craft beer, I know a lot of people tuning in to this live stream, even if you stop by just for a drink or two, just for a moment, you're probably just a hockey fan first, but you know, the Soda Pod here, we're a craft beer podcast as well. And we have a great podcast under our umbrella, the Brewery Travels podcast. So go show them some love as well. Before we just dive into the Wild talk and all this great stuff here tonight, boys, Hoppy, who do we have on tap as far as other guests tonight?
Oh, putting me on the spot. I love this. We have, of course, Seth Topol. Needs to be repeated, especially after seeing that bottle. Oh, my goodness. We're going to get the best version of Seth. We also have joining us here, Alex Micheletti. Comes as no shock because he's just been all over our stuff recently for good reason. The guy's a beauty. Then we have boss man of 10K Takes, Jack, jumping on. We also have Austin Rickliffs of Revelation Ales. He was supposed to jump on with us this summer, ended up getting tied up with some things. So making his debut here tonight. We may or may not have Dev. I feel like that's kind of the standard approach for him. He's like, yeah, I'll just let you know as soon as I know. I'm like, great, I'll just wait in here.
Yeah, okay.
And then Isha, who do we have wrapping up the show?
We have Chad Minton. He's actually part of the Hockey Podcast Network. He is one of the many hosts of the Catfish on Ice podcast, which absolutely love the name and logo of that one. He's also editor-in-chief at Predsline, the Nashville Predators blog. So he'll be joining us post-game to talk everything about the game and just, I guess, about the rest of the respected division moving forward, as I'm sure Hoppy has some questions for him, since, you know, Hoppy likes to bust my balls about supporting and following the Nashville Predators and rooting for them. So I'm very excited to see what he has to bring for Chad.
I will not let you slander me at the beginning of this show. I do not care if you support them. I have no problem with the team. The fact that you think they're good is what I have a problem with.
So there you go. Game starting. So we're a few minutes out from there. So we're officially in our pregame show here. Post-game with Chad, of course. And we're really excited to be here with you all tonight. Again, check us out on YouTube, subscribe to the Hockey Podcast Network, and find our podcasts as well. The Hockey Podcast Network and the Soda Pod are proudly powered by DraftKings. I mentioned them a little bit earlier. They're the leader in daily fantasy sports. Use promo code THPN upon sign up and plug it in for weekly bonuses as well. More on them again later in the show. Let's dive into our first segment here, the pregame show with Seth. We got a few topics lined up here, boys. Let's just start with yesterday's game. I mean, the Minnesota Wild, another good showing. I mean, they're off to a hell of a start here at the beginning of the season. They get another win against the Anaheim Ducks. Seth, overall, you know, just sum up that game and anything you want to highlight.
You know, it's been a culmination of what we have seen from this team to start the year, and also what we have seen from this team over the last year plus. A slow start that is met by an answer, and I don't know. There were a lot of good things that we saw yesterday from the Wilds. I think most fun to me is the legend of the fourth line continues to grow. Saw them get basically the entirety of the climax of regulation to try to win the game for the Wilds, which shows that Dean Evison really likes those guys and really trusts them. A great game for Marcus Foligno, just showing every bit of his capabilities and a reason why he is a huge reason that this team is as successful as it is. And we get to see the first goal that Brandon Duhaime expected just as much as John Gibson did, off of his skate into the net. You know, it's fun to see so many people contributing to this team's success early on, that it's not heavily tied to one or two lines. Like 1 through 4, these lines are contributing on a nightly basis, and this team is getting enough from Cam Talbot so far. He's not necessarily winning games for them yet, but there's going to be a stretch where he'll carry this team later in the year. And so as of right now, the offense is kind of bailing him out a little bit, but 4-0, and you feel like this team really has not played its best hockey yet, which is kind of a scary thought.
No, well said. Well said. You didn't comment on Ryan Getzlaf's little fine there.
Well,
little fine is right.
I mean, I could probably pay that myself if he needs help putting a GoFundMe together. It's always funny to me how you get these fines, and it's a sum of money that is so minor these guys will forget paying it. But hey,
yeah. I was saying that, you know, he's a Canadian boy. He might as well just troll the league and pay them in loonies.
Touche.
Don't worry, he'll still pay like USD worth, but just in loonies. Hoppy, any takeaways overall from the start of the season, yesterday's game, or anything else Wild related you want to bring up here in the pregame show?
Yeah, and it kind of goes off what Seth said, but I'm going to take the more negative approach on it. Like, sure, we're 4-0, and that's cool. Like, you can't ask for more. Except I'm going to, because we've won every game by 1 goal. We've been playing dog shit opponents. Like, it's good. Like, the positive I'll take out of it is that they're, like, finding a way to rally at the end of games and come out the victor. But where the hell is that for the first couple periods, right? Like, yeah, I personally have not been happy with, like, the complete game across the board. I do think we've largely, with Winnipeg aside, which was just a fucking roller coaster, like, we have dominated the game against the California teams, but we're really not getting good chances. Like, I don't care how much you dominate all ends of the ice. If you aren't getting like quality opportunities put up, if you can only put up one against Stolars, or sorry, two at the end of the day, like that's not good. So I think there's a lot more to Seth's point. The positive of that, again, like this is not their best hockey. We need to see that because after the next few games here, let's see, we have Predators right now. We have Vancouver and Seattle, I think, this week. After that, we start playing big boys. We've got Colorado and Pittsburgh that next week. Crosby could potentially be back for that game too. Like, you're not going to get away with what we've been doing at that point. But so it's good that, I mean, we've had some of those early season growing pains and it hasn't cost us any games. So all in all, good.
No, absolutely. You got to come out and at least show a dominant performance if you can. If you can't, scrape out, get the wins. There's still a lot of things that need to be fine-tuned, I think. I mean, goaltending is one of them. And again, Talbot, he's winning games, that's fine. But Hoppy pointed this out in the first game and said, like, we won't necessarily talk about it on the podcast yet because it's the first game or whatever. But his rebound control, it's getting to be a problem.
Yeah, it's not great.
I mean, Seth, have you noticed that as well? I mean, maybe we're just being overcritical here, but I feel like that's when I'm sweating the most, you know, as someone who's covering the Wild and rooting for the Wild. When there's some bad rebounds there, because look at this, put it this way. It's either the Wild defender is in the right spot to get it, or it's the other team. And I've seen the opponents capitalize just because of that, or at least get a crazy opportunity as a result.
Well, and it seems like too, and I'm not super defending Talbot with this point here too, is we have seen some pretty dumb goals scored so far this season. The one that I think hit off of Matt Dumba and went into the net. And you didn't necessarily see those types of goals go in last year, but at the same time, it feels like he is struggling in just seeing the puck so far this year, in that there are some shots that are getting him, top shelf that he may have been able to stop last year. And yeah, rebounds have not been particularly good. It just, for whatever reason, seems like it's taken him longer to settle in so far this season than it did last year. And I don't know what exactly is causing that, but the mega hope is that it is fixable and correctable as the season goes. But I don't know if you can necessarily assume that that is going to be the case. Yeah, it's been very interesting to see him so far, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Capo has today. I have a lot of concerns with his overall play based on the fact that I think a lot of it came with just beating up on the teams below them in the division. And
that goes for both of them.
Well, exactly. And so if he comes out and is rusty and doesn't look great like he didn't in the preseason, then I think we get some worries in the net for this team. But if he comes out and he's crisp tonight and he does a good job, albeit against a team that they're better than, that'll at least kind of help alleviate things a little bit.
It's an interesting double-edged sword here, though, Seth, because I agree with you on Talbot. Like he feels like he's fighting it a little bit. Like he's not comfortable. Last year, Guy couldn't have been like more calm and collected throughout the season. And right now, you can tell that's just not the case. And while I would love to see Capo Kakkonen push him, I also feel like Cam Talbot's not the guy that's like, yeah, I need this guy to push me to be my best. It's going to be more like, oh, fuck, maybe I'm going to lose my spot. And he kind of panics a little bit. So if that's how it plays out, we don't know yet, right? But that's something that kind of worries me with just how Cam Talbot's been. Like, does he revert and end up becoming kind of a 1B almost backup like he was in his career before being with the Wild? Like 1 year doesn't mean a whole lot, especially in goalie years.
Well, and that was kind of one of the things coming into the season that I looked at as a what if we saw like the absolute best that Cam Talbot can offer last year. And if he slides, what does that look like for this team? So it's a hit the ground running approach. And this team so far in the net has had so results, and if that continues, I really don't know what they do.
Yeah, man. And I mean, Isha, you've heard me preach it, right? Like, I actually like the team being put on the ice a little bit better this year than I did last year, and I'm still like very reserved on my expectations for the Wild this season. Like, I think they end up a bubble playoff team somewhere in that 4 or 5 range when it's all said and done because of the goaltending. Like, we've seen both ends of it. 2 years ago, worst it could possibly be. Last year, the good goaltending basically won Evison a trophy, which I think is bullshit still, but whatever. Good for him. Good for Creed. But now we're going to see the middle ground, right? Which is what most teams have to deal with. How will the Wild play with solid, adequate goaltending rather than lights out performances like we were seeing? It's just a lot remains to be seen. And more importantly, because the game's about to start here, we have to highlight this, Isha. We've got the arrival of the Sota slice. All right. Everyone wants that jumbo slice of New York style pizza. You get the little extra parts on the side that I can just dip in ranch as I go the rest of the game after I take down that monster. And you know what? It looks like an A, so it just kind of fits in with the branding anyways.
Amazing. That little plug was brought to you by our friends at 7th Ave Pizza. How you liking that, Matt and our friends there? Look at Hoppy sporting it already. More on all of our friends, DraftKings, 7th Ave, Northland, throughout this stream. Look, I mean, we have
down with Northland people, Northland and Capri Sun for Capri Sun.
Oh my God, that was perfect. And I mean, that drink was born here on the Hockey Podcast Network, which is where all of you are joining us on YouTube. So I see a lot of people are jumping in. Leave your comments. We're totally interactive. We're just sitting back here, having a beer, having a pizza. Seth is throwing back. What were you throwing back again? Seth is throwing back. Oh my God. That's amazing. So we're watching this game with you all here tonight, and we really appreciate all those who tune in and out. Even if you stop by for one drink, we're happy to have you. Again, totally interactive. So hit us up on the chat as well. I brought this up earlier, boys, but the Windy City Benders podcast. Geez, I'm only one beer in.
Windy Cindy. That sounds like a
Windy Cindy. Name. Let's go mild. Now, our friend Jerome there. He was saying that.
Wait a minute. That's coming from the 0-4-1.
I was just going to say. So I can't wait. Him and I have agreed to do a live stream when Chicago play the Wild, and that one's going to be a lot of fun. That one's going to be a lot of fun.
That'll be a quick one then.
Yeah, Josh Deming says score predictions, boys. Thank you, Josh. As puck is just dropping right now, let's quickly give our predictions for this game. Seth, let's start with you.
You know, I had said earlier today 4-2, but I'm going to up it. I think 6-4.
6-4 for the Wild?
Yep.
Damn.
3-2 Predators.
3-2 Predators. I think 4-3 OT Wild win. Kakkonen's in net. You know, he's gonna be tested a bit here tonight, but I think he's gonna pull through in the end.
Oh wait, I should confirm. I take that back. I just saw that it's not Saros playing, so I'll go.
Oh, then yeah, that's why Seth said 6.
Fuck. Yeah, that changes everything. All right, real prediction will be 4-2 empty net goal Wild.
All right. And again, for those tuning in and out, we want to hear your prediction as well. So hit us up in the comments on YouTube. Good pace to the game as it starts out here. I mean, Nashville's pressing early, and I think Nashville, especially with the roster that they have now, so different from years past. You know, a lot of their players moving on, the team just kind of moving forward, going into like a retool and or potential rebuild here. I think they're a team that this season, whether Saros is in net or not, they're going to have to pounce quickly, because I just don't think they have, you know, the tools to go, you know, 5 rounds, for lack of a better term, an entire game and really press the pace, much like the Wild seemingly can. The Wild have become a younger team this year, and it seems like they have the legs to be able to do that. Now, I agreed with what Hoppy said in our pregame segment there, that I really like the Wild's team now and the style that they play and just their direction versus, you know, last year. Their defense, though, it did take a hit. Now, the extent to how much that will reflect the extent to how much that's going to reflect on the ice the rest of the season is yet to be seen. So far, we were very critical with the goaltending. I don't think we're overly critical of the defense so far. I haven't really had a problem with the defense. Goligoski's looked awesome, in my opinion.
I don't think that's the drop-off, Isha. I think Goligoski more than makes up for what we lost in Suter. I think that third pairing got nowhere near the respect they should have with Susie and Cole.
Yeah, and Susie was great too.
Fuck Nick Foligno for dragging that out so long and saying no, because absolutely we would have had Ian Cole on this team if not for the uncertainty of whether or not we were going to have to put that money towards Foligno. So
That's a
Fuck
great
you,
point.
Foligno. Fuck you, Boston, for taking him from us. And Ian Cole, I'll never say anything bad about you. Good luck in Carolina.
Well, no, and it was that third line was just so unsung in that, to make a football comparison, like you talk about a good offensive line being one that you don't hear their names mentioned really at all. And, those guys didn't really do a whole lot in terms of goals and assists, but they just did so well at doing the things they were asked to do. And, so far Kulikov and Merrill have not done a whole lot that has stood out, in a negative way. But at the same time, I just think as the season wears on, it's going to be a true test for if those guys are capable of filling in those spots. And if not, then I think the big key is going to be how quickly do we see Kalen Addison? Because if he's up here really soon, that means that one of those guys is not holding up to their end of the bargain. And behind them, you have the corpse of Jordy Ben. So I don't know what's really to expect from that either. So, yeah, that could be a spot that later in the year we look back and we say, boy, really miss those two.
Yeah. And a chance there just from the Wild. May not be Saros in net, but made a pretty good save there early in this game.
I worry, Seth. I really hope they don't bring Addison up to play third pairing. I don't want that.
I agree.
But
Yeah, you want to see him in a top role for sure.
Yeah.
If someone gets hurt in the top four, bring him up immediately. Do not hesitate. Like, find whatever limo service you need and get that boy up here to play. But third pairing, like, find whatever able-bodied guy you have, preferably a bigger guy. But like, shit, at this point, I'd even for a game test it out and see if Jordy Ben can get those jitters out, because like he fits what you want in a third pairing guy, not all season, but like he can make spot starts and like bring a physical aspect to the game. And if you shelter his minutes, you can be okay. Because guess what? Our top four, they can play big boy minutes. They can all play 25.
Yeah.
All you got to do is find ways to get Ben out there for 10-ish minutes a game without ruining everything, and you're in okay shape.
Yeah, we got some comments coming in. Like I said, Josh, 4-1 is his prediction there in favor for the Wild. Matty D, thanks for joining us. Matty says 3-2 Wild in OT. What did I say? 4-3 Wild in OT. He also says, where do you guys see the Wild finishing this season, especially after their great start? Well, in our pregame show, we talked a little bit about how, yes, it is a great start, taking nothing away from the Wild, but their competition hasn't been too big yet. So, Seth, I'll hand this over to you to answer his question first. What do you think?
Well, I think based off of what we've seen so far, and yes, it's super early, so let's not get overreactionary, but the handful of other teams in the division have not exactly been lighting it up either. So you look at who has played the best in the Central so far. Colorado, it's been St. Louis, us, and Colorado have been, the three that have really stood out at this point. Chicago looks like they are just in real bad shape. Winnipeg has not looked great either.
I'll take Winnipeg over the Wild at the end of the season. No questions asked. I'll take whatever bet you want on that.
Ooh.
I got a few questions there, but we'll talk about that later.
As far as my prediction, I had the Wild at third in the division. I got a little higher and put them at second, but I think ultimately they do make the playoffs just because, especially with the things that Vegas is dealing with right now, that Pacific Division is going to be some rough hockey. So I think this Wild team does make the playoffs. Where they sit in the division, I would say third or fourth probably. But I still think they make the playoffs.
I wonder how real the Blues are, to be honest.
Before we get into that quickly, I just have to comment because Kulikov just had a freaking NHL 22 style, tap A and trip there. I can't stand this player. I really can't. And if those watching, or tuning in on the live stream, if you want to defend Dmitry Kulikov, go right ahead. I said like there's a few players, just NHL wide that I just can't stand. One of them was Greg Patterin, and I'm so glad he's not a Minnesota Wild. And I'm so glad he's in the AHL now. I'm pretty sure no one claimed him. And B, Kulikov, he's such a disappointment coming into the league, and he's been absolute crap ever since, in my opinion. Some of the fancy stat people throw some of his analytics. I'm like, Yeah, he tripped somebody like that. That wasn't even desperation. That was just dumb. So, anyways, just wanted to say the Wild are now shorthanded. Nashville still doesn't even have a shot on net, and though we're over 5 minutes in the game now, or just under 5 minutes in the game, actually, it's the Wild have 2 shots on net.
Oh, and another shot right there for Seth. Here we go.
Moose, baby, I like that.
Seth, remember like 3 minutes ago when we said like we're not at all complaining about the blue line, and all we've done is just bludgeon the blue line since. Fuck Kulikov, fuck Ben. Thank you, Risha, for bringing some color to this.
And Nashville, with their first shot on net, score on the power play. Wow. So Kaukonen early. I hope it's just a little rust he has to shake off, and I hope he can play solid moving forward.
No.
What?
Not putting that on Kaukonen.
No, I'm not. I'm not entirely. But come on now.
No, it sounds like you're putting it on him, and I don't think that's on him.
Okay, well, explain.
Okay, back to the defense. Like, how do you not clear that puck from right there in the slot?
Yeah.
No one had eyes on it. No one even made an attempt at it. Guy got it clean. Didn't play puck or body. That's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Wow, the Wild go shorthanded early, and their penalty kill does not look good. Nashville scoring with their first shot of the game here. I forget if it was the Wild's first or second shot, but they had that one.
It wasn't their first shot. It was off a rebound.
I guess the second shot.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I got to spread lies.
I got a scoreboard in front of me. It says 1 shots. Okay. I'm literally Ron Burgundy. Everyone knows this.
That's a tough one for Spurgeon too, because it hit off of one of his skates, and if he had a split second longer to react, I think he gets it out of there.
Yep.
But that's just one of those things again, and it's just a dumb goal, a dumb bounce that goes another team's way.
Totally.
So far this year, and it seems like we've had way more of those than we had last year.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to sit here and say it's just like a blasphemous move on the defense. I'm just saying you can't blame Kaukonen for that goal. Sorry.
Yeah. That's just one of those things. It's just one of those tough things that happens early on in a game.
Yeah, Josh saying not the start you want.
Do we get the equalizer within a minute here?
I mean, Josh, it's only 1 goal. That's what you said. You're still safe.
There you go. Josh also asking who's had the biggest surprise start in the NHL this season? Buffalo?
I'd honestly put it at St. Louis.
Yeah.
Personally.
The way they've looked too, because have they scored like 20 goals in 4 games or 25 goals, something like that?
Just insane.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Does Tarasenko still want out?
And honestly, I'll say too, my biggest surprise, I am shocked at how bad the season has started for the Blackhawks.
Yeah,
I really am.
Oh, me too. That's dude, we could have a whole segment, a whole show on that. That's just it's insane there. And it's not like they're losing close games. They're getting pummeled.
They're getting pulled out of the games immediately. They're giving up 1 or 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of every game.
Now, boys, not a shock to me because I said it before the season, but come on. You're a little shocked about the Penguins, aren't you?
I mean,
yeah, that's right.
I'm rolling my eyes. I'm rolling my eyes. You know what I'm more shocked of? And Anthony actually commenting here. Vegas, they look incredibly anemic.
Injuries.
A lot of injuries for them. I mean, Mark Stone and, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And Robin Lehner has not looked Marc-Andre Fleury-esque. I mean, he hasn't been dreadful, but he just hasn't had that level that Fleury had last year. And they'll ultimately, when they get everybody back, it'll be a lightning-ish situation for them. Once they get everybody back, they'll be good enough to make the playoffs,
especially in that division. They don't have to do shit right now, and they know it.
Yeah. Looks like we have another penalty on the Wild. Jared Spurgeon actually, and it looked like we might actually have an injury to a Nashville player. Hoppy, what are you seeing?
Yeah, no, that's not a great hit. I mean, I think it was unfortunate. It looks like Tolvanen went down awkwardly right before he hit him, but
oh yeah, I'm seeing it right now.
I mean, if Wild fans are watching and that happened to Kaprizov, they would demand blood. So
scream bloody murder.
It's penalty. It's good.
No, it's a penalty.
Hopefully,
for sure.
I hope he's okay.
And
he's a good young player, man. Oh, if he had anyone to play with, he'd be torching right now. He can shoot.
Dude, I've always loved Tolvanen. I think it was hard for him to break into the lineup when Nashville was kind of just going going for the Stanley Cup and still just trying to hold on to being one of the top teams in the league. So like, I feel like when he got a little bit of rope and then made mistakes as a young player would, like he really, you know, he was punished for it, especially when like Laviolette was there. Now, you know, he has room to make mistakes. I mean, this team isn't expected to win the Stanley Cup anymore.
2 minutes for Spurgeon, and it looked like, from what I saw, pretty bang.
So the Nashville Predators so far playing with some pace, kind of like I said in the start of this live stream, that they're going to come out with a ton of speed and just kind of throw everything I think that they can out in this first period and take advantage of these early power plays and really hope that I think carries them over so that, you know, Yossi and some of their defensive players can just try to lock it down. And look at that. Bang, bang. What did I say? Making do on the power play. And Hoppy, do you blame the defense or Kakinen primarily on this one?
We're going to watch the replay just so I can give a valid assessment here. But I don't know. This is it hurts a little bit that Granlund is part of it because I just rip on him so much.
Of course, a former Wild player.
That's kind of, I mean, so you wish Kakinen could have gotten control of it, but that's kind of a fluky, like, guy tipped it. It was kind of a change up going towards the net. Kakinen couldn't cover up, and the guy gets his own rebound. Defenseman didn't really time up the way he could have, but I think everyone was kind of confused about where the puck ended up on that deflection. Like, I don't know. I don't want to take the no answer, but I think it was just kind of a fluky goal.
Yeah, a couple bounces in, you know, through the 5-hole there I saw as well.
That's weird.
Hey, look, we have a great group of people commenting. Jen O actually asked, "What radio station is airing the game?" And look, we got Anthony replying, KFan, the only radio station you should be listening to if you're not watching us throughout this entire live stream. Grant Chung, what's up, boys? Grant, go check him out if you're a fan of the Calgary Flames. The Blasty's Corner. Sorry, there's a lot of podcasts on the network. I'm sorry, Grant. Look at these. Like, I needed some points from Tolvanen. Oh, that's not good. For those listening in our chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the boys here, I mean, what are some of your fantasy implications for this game? Are you leaning on anybody on either side for Nashville or the Minnesota Wild?
Well, are we talking about what we did with our good old friends at Locked On, or are we talking about our personal fantasy teams?
Let's start with personals and Blasty's Corner. Everyone go give that a subscribe, like, and listen.
Yeah, in this game, I actually have both Ek and Zuccarello, so that'd be nice.
Ooh, so yeah, you're really leaning on that. Seth, what about you?
I got Kaprizov and Spurge.
Spurge is helping you out early, eh?
Yeah, great start. It's okay. I've already locked.
Do you get points for Pims?
I don't think so.
Oh, you get in a better league, man.
I know. I have already. I'll tell you this. I've already locked up the win this week without even counting in today's games. It's head-to-head categories.
Oh, I'm done talking to you.
Yeah.
Categories is for peasants. I'm sorry.
Which is why I have started my own fantasy thing that you both are taking part in here today.
See, and I like that. See?
Well, let's talk about that then.
So the Locked On Lineup Challenge, name pending, is a game of my creation. And basically the aim of it is to take esteemed members of Minnesota Wild media, the media landscape, such as yourselves, and go head-to-head every Wild game, simply picking one member off of each starting forward line for the Wild and seeing who comes up with the most points at the end of the game. And I also extend the invite to the Locked On hosts for the opponents for the Wild that night. So you can have, as many as 4 or 5 people going head to head on any given night. And it is the 3 of us going head to head here tonight. Not off to a great start, but there's plenty of game left.
Well, I mean, it can't be a good or bad start because there's no points to be had. And got Wild players.
Anthony commenting, Seth, we don't need to hear about your Kaprizov / Spurgeon fantasy.
I'll save that for the spaces later.
Yeah.
No, what we're going to do here is a little time traveling. We're going to hop into the time machine. We're going to have you on at the very end of the game, Seth, since you're going to be gone for a little bit and drinking the 1800. and you're just going to be a completely different human.
Usually happens.
Ian was saying that he's not worried, only a little bit. And he throws in the lull. So thanks for tuning in. Ian, Grant chiming in saying, sorry, I need Zook to get 0 points. Currently winning 74, 45, 73, 70.
Yeah, you can't afford anything. Yikes.
Nope. And not a lot of shots early in this period. And I guess, that just kind of shows the Wild have been playing from behind. They're playing heavy defense. Well, trying to play heavy defense anyways, being on the penalty kill. What kind of seemed like back to back, right? We're barely halfway through this period, and the Wild are already down 2 goals.
Wild on the power play though.
That is true, but I don't know. Last year we were critical about the Wild's power play. Obviously things have changed a little bit this year. The power play hasn't impressed me too much this season. I know the season's still young, but I feel like against the California teams, the power play at least should have looked a little bit better. Move the puck a little bit more.
I don't know. It's so weird because results wise, this year too, like they've been fine. And I thought last year visually the power play was substantially better than it's been over the last couple of years because, they're actually taking shots. Now, the biggest points of contention, I would say, is the angles at which those shots come from and the zones in which those shots occur. And a lot of them are kind of low leverage spots, which is not great. But at the same time, if I'm putting a power play together, I am a huge team. Shoot as many times as you can and just try to get rebounds and get them past the goalie. You're not going to score on the power play if you don't shoot the puck. I mean, that's pretty simple.
Yeah, and I want to kind of push back on what Isha said too, that they should move the puck more. They move the puck too damn much. Seth's point, shoot the damn puck.
Yep.
Kaprizov, double-edged sword here too, where he's making really good plays, making really good passes. Dude does not want to shoot the fucking puck, and every time he makes one of those great plays, doesn't look like the other guy's ready to receive the pass.
Yeah,
so just shoot the puck, please.
He's been too otherworldly at times with those passes, and I get wanting to be like a team player and get everybody else involved, but at the same time, he is uber talented and can afford to just say, you know what, I'm just going to take this one myself.
Hey, they're shooting the puck on this power play, though. There was a nice couple shots from the blue line. Eck, right in the slot. Couldn't get his stick on that one. That one, I imagine, would have been a home run, a goal there. Biscuit in the basket. That one looked beautiful, but again, waffled on that one. But yeah, the Nashville Predators just seem like they want it more early in this game. Like they're skating with a purpose out there. That's what I'm seeing anyways right now.
Yeah, and after what happened to them last night, kind of getting boat raced a little bit by Vancouver wanting to, or Winnipeg, I get the two mixed up. I don't know how that's possible, but getting boat raced a little bit last night, coming back to make it a competitive game, it was not for a good majority of the game. So wanting to get off to a better start here today and, playing with house money against the team at home. Again, right where we have seen this team through most of the games this season is just a slow start. And now the question is, can they overcome it?
Yeah, early opinion too. And I don't know if you guys agree. And again, we're not even halfway through the first period, but I feel like they're doing a really good job of jamming shit up in front of Kakkonen, and he's getting zero fucking help. And it's kind of pissing me off.
Yeah, it's just you can go one of two ways when there is a loose puck in front of a goalie. Is like, well, the goalie should do better in terms of, taking control of the puck and stopping play. But as defenders too, that's your job, is to get the puck out from in front of your goalie. And I think that's been kind of the MO of what has worked against these two goalies, is just creating a ton of chaos. And I mean, let's be fair, that's pretty much every goalie in the league, but creating chaos in front of the net and just pouncing on missed rebounds. And it has bitten them a lot more this year than it did last year.
Yeah. Well, still a very early game thus far. Was just under 10 minutes left in the first period. And usually, and this kind of, for the last 2 years that I've covered the Wild, really watched pretty much every single Wild game. they usually outshoot their opponent in the first period. For whatever reason, they come out swinging, even if they're not high danger chances, they're still getting the puck on net in the first period. Then I always say they take their foot off the gas a little bit in the second, and the thirds, that's where they make or break, right? It's like the Wild either take their foot off the gas entirely and get beaten in that third period, or they continue to just laissez-faire and shit, we got pedal back to the metal late in the third and win the game. The last two and a half years, that's been the narrative of the Wild. And let's be honest, against the California teams early in this season, it was kind of that way too. Not tonight. I'd say that's credit all to Nashville. I get it. You take 2 early penalties and it's going to throw off your game. It's going to throw off your first period game plan going in. So let's see if after this commercial break here that the Wild can maybe start getting their legs under them a little bit, and maybe even starting in the second and third, Dean Evason goes in there and goes, just scratch this period. Obviously we're down by 2, but if we can continue to play our game like we are going to beat these guys, because realistically, let's talk a little bit about Nashville. What are the biggest threats on Nashville now that Jesse Saros is not even in net?
It hasn't clicked at all yet. But the fact that they're going like old school 2007 Ottawa Senators and just saying, fuck it, we're putting all 3 of our best players on the first line and we'll just hope everything else works out. It has not worked yet. They haven't put up much for points, but if that line starts clicking, because regardless of how overpaid Duchesne is and how disappointing Johansen's been recently, like those 2 in Forsberg, that could click. That could do something at some point, and all it takes is them getting 1 or 2 and getting a little confidence, and that's a line that could go off.
No, agreed. Seth, any thoughts and anything going into this game that you were a little scared of playing the Nashville Predators?
Former Wild players doing things against their the Wild, and Granlund tonight already. Adding to that legend. I mean, Alex Tuch created it. Well, no, I would say Brett Burns created it, and Alex Tuch, and it just is to die. Is they're owning their former team.
Sorry, a little connection issue there, Seth. Can you just tell us again what we lost you for that? Pretty much.
Say the same things you said.
Yeah, say the same things you said.
My internet is having the same type of night that the Wild are having so far, so apologies for that. It's just former Wild players doing things against their former team, and Granlund getting in on the act there. A tradition that Brett Burns, I think, started. Alex Tuch has furthered, and Granlund now getting in on the fun here tonight.
Hey, but just wait till we play Dallas and Ryan Suter gets a hat trick. Or the Islanders and Parise scores the first, opens up the scoring, right?
Well, Parise would have to play in order for that to happen.
I just can't imagine a world where Ryan Suter gets a hat trick on any goalie.
I just said if it's any team, it's going to be Minnesota.
Well,
has he had a hat trick in his career, or would that be his first? Because I know he doesn't score a lot.
There's no way he has a hat trick.
No, I'm just wondering. Maybe in Nashville, they just like him and Weber just had a crazy night and they just set each other up. I don't know.
Has he ever had 2 goals in a game?
Shit, man. I wouldn't bet on that. I'm just saying, if it's gonna happen, and this actually, increases the odds if you want to bet on it via DraftKings. Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna happen with any team, it's gonna be the Minnesota Wild. So again, Kakkonen just not a lot of shots. Now 7-4 in favor of the Nashville Predators, but just seems busy. Like the pressure's there. Like that's just the key highlight thus far. And I've said it a couple times already, but Nashville is they are out skating the Minnesota Wild right now. They are pushing the pace. Holy.
I don't think we're challenging them either. Like I said before, like traffic in front of the net, we're not making them fight for it at all.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Seth, what are some other things you're seeing?
Apparently the Wild just about gave up a disgusting goal to make it 3-0, but Kakkonen able to prevent just an absolute disaster. Interesting note that Michael Russo points out is that Kirill Kaprizov has had 2 situations in which he has tried to push the puck up facing 3 Nashville players by himself. And so I wonder if he's getting into frustration territory to where he is starting to see that 0 in the goal category, and it's starting to kind of get to him a little bit.
I don't know, man. Because I totally get what you're saying, but how can you get into that kind of territory mentally when the team's 4-0? Like it'd be worse if like the team was losing and it's his fault in
Right.
his mind. Like we're winning these games. Don't
He's still
put
getting
that on
points.
yourself, right? But you could be right. I mean, who knows, dude? Russian see red.
Yeah. Riku Rowan, thanks for joining us, buddy. He says, I bet 140 pounds to Minnesota. Oh shit.
What's the conversion rate?
That's you can do that. Sean Cosgrove, just like one of my favorite people in the world here. January 14th, 2014 against the Capitals, Suter had a hat trick. Leave it to motherfucking Sean Cosgrove for helping us out here on the Soda Pod. He is our stat man.
I can apologize. And actually, on that note, so yesterday we went out and hit Back Channel, which I'll be drinking one. Fuck.
Oh my god.
There's that line. Anyways.
That's why I said 6'4".
All right, let's go with positive thoughts. So yesterday I went to Back Channel, which was delightful, by the way. And
Back Channel Brewery for Nashville
Channel
Predators
Brewery,
fans watching.
yeah. And we will be having one of their beers later. And fucking Quali's there. Q. And somehow we get into the topic of college hockey. And he's like beyond convinced that there's Division II hockey. And I'm like, no, there's fucking not. And he then pulls up a page and it was like, I'll take the blame. I should have probably noticed, but it was definitely Wikipedia. And he's like, see, there's 7 teams, Division II. There was one that I consider going to play for. It exists. And then like, I have him pull it back up again after I like apologize and like say, you know what? I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have been mean. And of course it's Wikipedia. And he's like, oh yeah, that's been disbanded for a while. Oops. I can apologize, but if you make me falsely apologize, then I'll rip your head off.
Oh man! All right, so let's talk a little bit about that goal and just just that sequence overall. Well, I'm sorry, Hoppy, we're doing a live stream here, and we don't have the scoreboard up, so you're gonna have to say something on the matter. Talking about that line because you just brought it up. Like that was some magic there. Those are some top players doing top National Hockey player things. I mean, talk about just that little spinorama pass too.
I'm just sad.
It was nifty. That one, I think that's the first goal of the night where you say, yeah, that's one that Capo needs to have. Like he just straight up missed it. That's
good play to create the goal, but the goal itself, nah.
Yeah, especially given the team is down by 2, a big save would have, at least helped in momentum alone. And Brandon Duhaime playing his Brandon Duhaime style game, hard-nosed type player. He takes a penalty, and the Minnesota Wild go shorthanded again, boys.
Can we go with my first prediction of 4-2?
I mean, it's leaning in that direction.
I might go 8-0 at this point.
Yeah, I'm sort of our friend.
I mean, it's pacing for like 13-0. So,
jeez. Well, nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but
for
up.
16-0. Sorry, bad math.
Oh.
So it's funny because we actually panicked early and was like, "Oh, okay, well, we didn't panic. We took back any panic we may have had, seeing that Saros was not in net. Now it doesn't really matter because there's only 6 shots on net, and for the Minnesota Wild, 8 for the Nashville Predator, and they're up 3-0, moving the puck back and forth, blue line to wing here on the power play. Wow!
And I mean, you know what though, Isha? The good news is you already hit on this. Like the Wild are historically good in the second period.
Yep. Yep. We're not going to see the Wild really go for it until the 3rd. So this is going to be a long night, ladies and gentlemen. Grant commenting, guys, Ryan Johansen only 7% owned in Yahoo hockey pools. Better pick him up. Hey, if you're in a Yahoo hockey pool.
I think Johansen's actually a really underrated player in general.
Anthony's saying, can we just forfeit the rest of the game? No, come on now. It's a little too early for that. This is hockey. I've seen teams come back.
We're not going to do that.
What's the mercy rule? What should the mercy rule be if there was one?
In NHL, I would say 7.
7, yeah.
Touchdown.
Sean Cosgrove, are they going to call up the Hamburglar next month? How's he playing in Iowa? I mean, I imagine fine because
I think he started last night, didn't he?
Well, tune into Judd's Buds. He'll tell you all about that. He talks a little Iowa Wild as well every Tuesday on the Soda Pod feed. Still no Tolvanen on these power plays.
Poor Grant.
Oh man. man. Oh, man. Again, thanks everyone tuning in and tuning out, back and forth, whether you want to ride shotgun with us tonight during this Soda Stream Minnesota Wild Nashville Predators watch along. Only about 5 more minutes left in this first period, this dominant first period by the Nashville Predators. 10 shots on net for Nashville, 3 goals, 2 power play goals. And I mean, their last one was an absolute beauty from their top line. And Hoppy, you said it, Ryan Johansen, like, probably gets more flack than he deserves given the numbers on his contract. Oh, kind of like a Tyler Myers. No, I won't get into that now.
Well, and for him, though, it's like Duchesne makes all the sense in the world because he's there to score. Ryan Johansen's a guy that, like, yeah, you expect him to put up points, but the guy can play an incredible two-way game. Like, I'm not saying that it would have necessarily gone differently, but him being hurt in the finals against Pittsburgh, like, that was the biggest, like, sigh of relief I've ever had.
Yep.
Like, him not playing, which sucks. Like, you don't want to win that way, but holy shit, it's a completely different series if he can play.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Wild, trying to turn things on here a little late in the first period. Some nifty moves entering the zone, but Nashville doing a good job of just, and there it is again with a good takeaway, putting 2-3 guys on the star players, whether it's a Fiala, whether it's even a Dumba coming in with speed past the blue line. Like, they're putting bodies on the guys, bringing the puck into the zone. And as a result, they're not really playing a big neutral zone battle. Like, they're just waiting for the Wild to come in and just putting 2, like I said, or 3 men on the puck carrier, and they can't just do anything. I've seen it happen, like I said, with Dumba, I've seen it with Kaprizov, I've seen it with Fiala, and it seems to be working right now. And I just saw it right here as I'm watching this breakout. Nashville has a ton of room as a result when they're able to bring the puck out. So, I mean, they're looking phenomenal tonight. You got to give credit to the Nashville Predators here.
They've looked great, but we're letting them look great, in my opinion. That's just, I don't know.
We're not doing anything particularly well to help our cause.
No, and that's kind of how I saw this game going. If the Wild didn't play their game,
I think you guys are way behind me.
Oh yeah, we're on streams. Hoppy's on ESPN Plus or cable.
No, I'm just watching Valley Sports.
I just saw the puck just sitting there on the left side of the crease and just not going in. It made me sad.
Yeah. Now, Isha, I got to ask, because you mentioned like how people view Johansen's contract as being too high. Would you rather have him and his contract or the player he was traded for and that contract?
Ooh, that's a good question.
No, it's not. Johansen should be the answer.
I'm personally, I would pick Johansen as well. 100%.
Seth, 3 for 3 or...
Say the question one more time. I was distracted.
Johansen and his horrible contract, or the player he got traded for and his terrible contract? And terrible is accurate on that one, in my opinion.
It's a good question. I feel like you got to go with the guy that at least gives you any sort of upside. So I think I'll take Johansen.
Fair enough.
All right. So that's a sweep. Fuck Seth Jones.
Yeah.
Which again, I didn't think Seth Jones would be as bad as he is looking right now in Chicago, but that kind of translates to the entire team. Sean answers our question from earlier in saying Hammond is doing well. It seems Hunter Jones is getting starts in the ECHL and not doing great. So
that's not ideal. Although way cooler jerseys though. So smart move.
Oh,
shout out
man.
Iowa Heartlanders.
So sick. Like some of the best hockey jerseys right now in pro hockey, like all around, and they're ECHL. I love it. And they're not like, because like the AHL kind of has, and I mean, Iowa doesn't. Iowa looks like they're very Minnesota Wild-esque. They look like a professional sports team. But definitely there's some quirky ass AHL and even ECHL logos and just, franchise branding and all that stuff. But I really like the Heartlanders. They didn't go that way at all. It's still like, it's got the minor league vibe to it, but it's so professional, so clean. I think it's better than Minnesota's personally. Than the Wilds, but yeah.
That doesn't say much, but yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were
It's not a huge bar set.
Hey, I know some people, even out west here, who they're not even Wild fans. They say that the Wild is the best logo in the NHL.
I'm not even talking about the logo. I'm talking about the jerseys. They've never had a good jersey. I'll stand by that.
That's fine. But logo, that's
the logo's interesting, dude. I'm a South Park fan. I'll rock the Man Bear Pig.
I mean, yeah, but best in the league is such huge.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was
bar.
like, best in the league. Like,
I put him in the top half over the bottom half, though.
I would agree with
Ooh.
that
see,
statement.
that's a poll question. Comment that if you believe that it's in the top half or the bottom half as far as great NHL.
I mean,
logos
if
go.
we want to slice this up into thirds, I'd say they're middle third, probably.
I think that's accurate.
Minnesota mild.
What if we
as
go into
Jerem would say.
fourths? Then what would we do? Would we do like 25 to 50, or would we be doing 55 to 75? There's somewhere in there. I don't know. That's tough. It's dicey.
I take the over.
But what about fifths?
Oh, it's just stop.
God.
I'm just trying to break Isha's brain. He doesn't have a calculator on him.
Put them in that case. Put them in the third, fifth.
That's what I was gonna go with. So I'm with you.
And Marcus Foligno now in the box. The Wild go short-handed again. That's the storyline of this game thus far, is the Wild are taking way too many penalties.
Yeah, man, we can't score on a shitty backup goalie if we're killing penalties the whole time. So
That's it. No, that's exactly it. So again, I credit the Nashville Predators for everything I'm saying as far as them just playing to the best of their current roster's abilities right now, but the Wild are not making it any harder for them, right? They're not doing anything right, especially going shorthanded over and over and over again. And I mean, even just missed shots. I mean, Eck had this could have been a 3-1 game if Eck had gotten that shot in the slot earlier when they were on the power play, but no. And thus we are here with 2 minutes left to play on Nashville's power play.
You're making me do this, Wild.
Cheers, Seth. Although I'm just drinking a nice stout here.
yeah, my team makes me drink Northland.
You know what I've really come to appreciate in the last probably 365 days?
What's that?
Tequila.
I like
don't
tequila.
appreciate tequila at all.
I
I
used
like
to
tequila.
hate it. And like I would have it and I just would go into like full body tremors because of but now like it's great.
I mean, crappy tequila is crappy tequila. Good tequila, always love drinking. I had a friend.
Okay, but like where are we drawing the line for good or bad for you? Like how much would it? Well, I guess I can't even do this with Isha because the
like a $50 plus bottle of tequila. That's
for us is like a $40 bottle.
Yeah,
I'd say that's fair.
It's fine.
I mean, I think this was like 30, 35, somewhere in there. And I would
So
still,
I would still
put that in the good category.
So you know what you're getting when you drink that. I mean, I like good tequila, and I had a friend who like typically I would have just pictured him as just a beer type guy. He's a farmer, North Vancouver Island, but like tequila is his jam. We used to play dice, just straight up like just some dice games and just go hard on the tequila watching Canucks, and it was a very unique experience. We'll just say that.
There's a dice game. I don't know. Have either of you ever played Mexican? Because it's incredible.
No.
Are you getting canceled because of this game, or
it's a dice game?
Okay.
That's just what it's called. So I think it's more to do with like a Mexican standoff or something like that. I don't know.
There you go.
But so you pass the dice around in a cup, you shake them, roll them under the cup, and you look. And like if I roll 2 dice, so let's say it's a 5 and a 3, that's a 53 because you always take the higher one first. And it turns into like a bullshit bluffing game at certain points because you like have to beat the person ahead of you. So like sometimes like if I have to beat the 53, but I roll a 42, I'm just going to lie and say I got a 65, right? And that person has to decide if they believe me or not. And if they believe me, then they have to beat me. And it keeps going and going until someone either loses and it starts over, or if you get to the Mexican, which is a 21, then there's like a shot on the line for whether the person's lying about it or not. So you can't like make up a Mexican because if they catch you on that lie, you drink. And if they actually rolled it and you have to try and beat them, you either have to get a Mexican yourself or there's 2 different dice rolls that can erase it. And it just turns into a shit show if you go around the table enough times.
I've played I feel like that exact game called something else up here definitely, but I love it. We're getting some activity in the chat as the end of the first period, as it's the end of the first period now. 11 shots for the Nashville Predators, 9 for the Minnesota Wild. The Nashville lead 3-0. Grant's I'm assuming he's talking tequila here. Make sure that shit is 1% agave though.
100%.
There you go.
Yeah, he corrected it down below, Isha.
Oh, 100%. There it is. Josh asking us, sort of random, but curious to see where you guys see Eichel going. We'll get into that right away here. Actually, we have some topics teed up for the first intermission of this game. Again, Nashville Predators up 3-0 against the Minnesota Wild. Grant chiming in saying, Flames, please. Well, yeah, we'll get into that, Grant. Don't you worry. Ali _KG 03 for Nashville. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Anthony as well chiming in again. Thanks for tuning in, Anthony. Just don't ever be a tequila guy on a budget. I've had to buy that $14 bottle of tequila, band name Durango. Now, I have not heard of that personally, but from Seth's reaction, I don't think it's any good.
We are not going to speak of it.
It means there was an experience, and I want to speak of it.
No, I've had it. I've had it at house parties before, and it's
okay. Better or worse than Kharkov in the vodka world?
Worse.
Oh, Jesus! All right, say no more. We will not speak of it again.
I'm talking like instant projection back out.
All right.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let's talk a little bit about, let's address Josh's question. We'll talk a little bit more about the game as we get closer to puck drop for the second period here. But that was one of the topics we wanted to bring to this stream as well. And again, thanks to everyone tuning in on YouTube. If you found us on Twitter, we're totally interactive. So comment in the chat, give us a like, give this video a like, give all the videos a like on the Hockey Podcast Network's YouTube channel. And we're all just drinking together, watching hockey on this Nashville, Minnesota watch along. But again, Josh asks us, where do we see Eichel landing? And furthermore, he chimed in with Grant's comment there. What would the Flames package be for him, Grant? So I'm curious to see Grant's answer there. But I really do think that the Flames would be a great spot for Jack Eichel. Maybe not for him personally, but Calgary's not a bad city. I've lived there. I had a lot of fun there. I think it's great. And that team needs a top center. They need a bona fide top center. And furthermore, how cool would it be to have Eichel and McDavid head-to-head Battle of Alberta? That would be unreal.
I support it.
Yeah, it would be nice. It's just a shame that nothing's going to happen.
Accurate.
Oh man, Anthony, you should just imagine drinking your standard floor cleaners.
That is way too good, because that's exactly what it is.
Man.
Well, hand sanitizer. I mean, there's that dispensed everywhere these days. So I mean, is that a good comparison?
I'm getting nauseous thinking of it.
Grant actually gives his answer there. A little optimistic, but I'd offer Monahan, Valimaki / Zadorov to make the money work, and a first. Would be willing to throw in Peltier as well.
That's an overly optimistic view.
Yeah,
that's a hard no.
You're gonna have to give up more than that based on what the Buffalo Sabres have been asking. Because we heard again, not exactly, but close to what Billy Guerin was willing to give up. And it was 2 more pieces than that, or the value of the pieces anyways was way more. What was it again? It was like either the Fiala or Kaprizov, Boldy, and a first or something, and like another draft pick even probably. I think that's what we were hearing.
4 firsts?
No, I thought it was the equivalent of like a legit player, and then 2 of either. So there was going to be 3 total, and it was either 2 firsts and a top prospect, or 2 top prospects and a first. Which I think that will come down, but I don't know, Grant, this will make you not happy with me, but I don't think that Monahan offers as much in that trade as you think he does.
Hoppy and I are a little split on that too, but overall, I'd have to agree. Eichel versus McDavid is needed. Make it happen, Bettman. Now, that's a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to talk about, because Jack Eichel and his team, not his team, I guess, because fuck his team, the Buffalo Sabres, his camp, are reportedly making one last push in attempts to get cleared for surgery from the Buffalo Sabres. If that fails, they could file for grievance to the NHL, basically forcing the Buffalo Sabres' hand to either move him and, or worst case scenario for the Buffalo Sabres, terminate his contract. Now, if Buffalo can't get a trade done and they're still denying him to get this surgery, then you know what? They should be, I was going to say slapped on the wrist, but actually just slapped across the face by the NHL and be like, you don't even get to trade this guy now. The contract is void. He's a free agent. Like how crazy would that be? And you know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But what do you think is going to happen if he files for grievance? Like, do you think it's going to force the Buffalo Sabres' hand? I mean, they're going to have to lower their price if the league gets involved.
What's the league going to do? Like, they have
That's
every
what I'm
right
asking.
to do the bullshit they're doing right now. Like, I think it's absolute trash that they can decide whether he gets this procedure. It's not like he's saying like first, this is a hockey injury. This is not something he did like snowboarding in his time off. It's very reasonable. Like, he has reasons to want to make the surgery happen that he's going for. They have reasons not to, but that reason really just is limited to no hockey player has done it. So fucking what? Like, that's not a good reason. But at the end of the day, the way it's written in the contract, like, sorry, the NHLPA is the ones that need to get involved here. The NHL is not going to do shit because the way things are written, they have full control.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's why I just posed the question, though. And those in our comments who are watching this, who have come back and watched it and who are listening on our podcast too, because I'll leave this in there. What can the NHL do in this instance, in this scenario? Because again, like Hoppy nailed it there. Legally, the Buffalo Sabres, they can just they can do whatever they want with this player. They can choose to do nothing, or they can trade him. But if Jack Eichel's camp files for grievance and something comes about it, I don't have the NHL legal books in front of me. I don't know what's allowed or not. But what do you think? And let's speculate here. And Seth, I'll throw it to you first. Like, what could happen? What do you think realistically the NHL could do to force Buffalo's hand or punish them in whatever way to get this guy out? Whether it's, I don't know, a time limit on having to move him, or something that they may even have to just write a clause in, or just, I don't know, lay the hammer down in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Fine him for not trading him? Like, I don't see.
Take away a first-round draft pick?
I don't see any legal precedents that can be set on a team not willing to part with a player because of an issue over a medical procedure. I don't see there being any path to where you can say, yep, take away a draft pick, or force them to make
He's costing the NHL money, though, by not playing.
At the end of the day, he's a player under contract and property of the Buffalo Sabres.
Well, dude, here's the bigger issue, because like, even if they could make that push and be like, hey, you've got to make this move for this reason, what happens with the next guy that gets hurt? And maybe it's not as cut and dry as the cycle thing. You're making a precedent there that's a slippery slope where players try and take advantage of what Eichel gets to do here. And that's not a reason not to try and fix it for Eichel, but that's a reason that the league is going to try and stay as far away from this shit as they can.
This is for sure a Pandora's box situation in which if you come out and aggressively say, like, Buffalo, you have to trade him, at some point you just open up this huge can of worms that then you have to deal with every single similar instance of this happening throughout the rest of the league's history.
Yeah. Oh man, it just sucks, the situation, for sure.
It's 100%, man. And it's tough because like everything that Eichel's saying is totally fair, but you also understand like why this is in place, where like the team needs to have some control. If a player wants to go rogue and do something that makes zero sense, they've invested $80 million into this player. It makes sense that they have some say in this, but it's reached the point now where like, I don't know if arbitration is the answer, which guess what? That's not going to be solved anytime soon for Jack, but that's to me, the only answer here is having a neutral arbitrator who comes in and says, like, based on my findings here and what you've both put forward, either yes, Jack can get it, or no, team gets to keep doing the bullshit they're doing. Like, I don't have another answer.
Anthony commenting, I just have this sneaking suspicion the league is going to facilitate him ending up in Seattle.
I'd love it. I'd buy a jersey.
I'd rather Calgary again for the Battle of Alberta, situation there, because I think if that happens, more Americans are watching McDavid play just because they're going to watch their American boy. Oh yeah, Flames play,
because Americans aren't watching McDavid right now. There's a problem in the league right now, folks. It's that not enough people are watching Connor McDavid.
Look, Hoppy's, he's saying that facetiously, but I truly think that there is an issue there right now. This guy's not getting the Gretzky love the Gretzky type love that he deserves, given his offensive output right now. We haven't seen anything like this. And I would argue, like, since Gretzky and Lemieux, because Crosby and Ovechkin, as much as I love them, McDavid is on another level right now with offensive output.
You know how you get Gretzky love? You win a fucking cup.
Well, there are going to be a lot more Americans watching hockey come December 2nd, because I saw on Twitter today that Major League Baseball is saying a work stoppage is imminent.
Really?
Yep.
What's December 2nd have to do with anything, though?
I don't know if that was the deadline for the new collective bargaining agreement or...
I was going to say, they're usually not playing in December as far
No.
as I know, but I don't watch baseball, so what the fuck do I know?
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just got a comment here from Grant, and I assume it's a shot at Toronto. Show more footage of McDavid's grandma at games. Because whenever Mitch Marner's grandmother, mother, family, Austin Matthews family, even Johnny T's, uncle.
Oh, dude, Ovi got the parent love too. Ovi and
nice.
Malkin, I think. Malkin got a little bit.
Well, Ovi's parents are former Olympians, so I mean, there's a little bit more fame attached to them there.
What do you expect in Toronto? It's not like they can show highlights of those three players. They have to show something.
That's hilarious. Boy, Grant's just going off now. More comments of McDavid not being allowed to walk in on a goalie like he wants.
Grant seems fun.
No, Grant's great. Thanks for joining us, Grant. This is awesome here. And Anthony and Sean, I mean, all you guys, you're awesome. Thanks for sitting back and watching this game with us. I said, can we talk about how the ESPN Plus deal is the best thing this league has done since becoming a league? Some people are torn on ESPN, Anthony, if I'm speaking correctly here from what I've seen.
I don't agree. I think the only issue that people are having right now is they were hoping this meant it'd be easier to access games, and blackouts are still a big problem.
Welcome
my
to
sister's
Canada.
my sister's boyfriend who's down the street from me, he doesn't have like a cable package, got the ESPN Plus stuff so they could watch the games, and it's like, oh, so I can't watch half this shit.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like to think that ESPN will do something about that going forward, but it is nice for those that I would say the bigger issue, especially here in Minnesota, is Bally Sports North. Like, not being able to get access to that and watch Wild games like a majority of games. So for me, as somebody who has found a way, ESPN Plus is a great outlet to watch everybody else. And like, I just popped the Quadcast on my Xbox, and I don't have to listen to any of those games. It's just fun. It's just fun to have that access to every game that you want out of market, and not having to pay $250 or whatever it was bucks a year for NHL TV. Like, this is
that was only like $150.
Well, I never paid for it. That's why
I always had it. I have a problem.
I don't know. It's great that ESPN has done all this, like, in their first go with it back. It feels like there is more that they're going to be able to do, going forward. This first year is always just going to be a test. Make sure that they get the stuff in that they want to work. And going forward, I mean, I think the thing to hang their hat on is that the studio crew is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That NHL on TNT crew is A+, and they those guys have now worked together.
I think it's a great combo, and people love to hate Biz because he's not this great player, he's not an overly book smart guy, right?
Yeah.
And he's with B asterisk R stool. People, calm the fuck down. He's an entertaining person. He brings a different color to it. Would you rather have Milbury? Because I fucking wouldn't.
Or Babcock, or even
dear God.
Yeah, moving on.
Now.
Dude, I think him, Gretzky, Tocchet, they're gonna keep on shuffling more people in. Shit, dude, even Charles Barkley, I think that's a great addition. I think that's a great move.
Him being in net trying to stop shots from Gretzky was infinitely better than anything NBC did last year or has done in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say too, I think because you nailed it, Seth, where it's this year is a learning year for them because they haven't had anything to do with hockey, which makes sense because they had no financial reason to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's the first year. I think they have a perfect opportunity here with the stoppage of play for the Olympics, that's going to be their reset. And they can ride out the rest of the year like with the best approach, at least as of now, that they can come up with. And it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with playoffs, because that's what I care the most about.
Oh, man. Anthony's saying, I want more Pierre Maguire.
Oh, God.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was news this summer that he was potentially going to get a GM job. Who was it with again? Montreal? Maybe not GM job, but some sort of.
I thought there was a couple places that he was being rumored.
Pittsburgh, I think, too, was another
that
one.
That was a while ago.
Okay.
The
Senators. That's what it was. Thank you, Seth. That's what it was. I made a fucking YouTube video on it, so I'm like, what the fuck was it? But yeah, Senators. Yeah, Pittsburgh's front office is, honestly, I love it. I absolutely love it.
I have no problem with Pittsburgh.
Brian Burke and Hextall. Who else is up in there, Hoppy? Anyone else of note?
That's who you'd know.
That's who I'd know. Okay. But yeah, I love Brian Burke, man.
And guess what? They also have the best coach in the league, so that helps.
Okay. That's up for debate, but
debate it.
We don't need to here. This isn't
embrace.
That's real.
The Minnesota, Nashville. That's
debatable. I'm out.
And speaking of, we're nearing puck drop for the second period here. Nashville leading in the faceoff dot 14 to Minnesota Wild's 11. They're out shooting them, and more importantly, they're outscoring them 3-0. Now, the Wild, they have a hill to climb in the second and third period. Usually, they don't play that well in the second. The third's kind of a toss-up, whether they actually want to go for it or not. The Wild, they have to regroup. They had to have taken this intermission to really regroup and basically just reset and be like, obviously you're down, so you got to score, but don't look at the score. Reset how you would typically come out in first periods of games and treat this second as so, because I think that's what this team is going to have to do. They're going to have to come out. They're going to have to outshoot, outskate, even if they're not great opportunities. Get the puck on net, create rebounds, create buzz around the paint, and go hard in the paint. You know what I'm talking about?
You know what I'd like to see Dean do to start off the second period is drop the fourth line. Let those guys start it off.
He's going with the second line, which I get, it looks like. But for me, first 5 minutes of this period tell us whether or not this is going to be a game. Plain and simple. If we don't see them out buzzing, whether or not they score any goals, I don't care. If they're not buzzing for the first 5 minutes, I would respect people that just casually start tuning out of the hockey game and come here and listen to us talk bullshit, right?
It's over.
I do have to grab my delicious treat that Lupulin provided for this, so I'll be back, boys.
Oh, man. Well, again, the puck is just about to drop here in the second period of this game. Thanks to everybody tuning in. If you're just joining us here, we're watching this game here. We're having a couple cold ones. We're sitting back watching some Nashville Predators, Minnesota Wild hockey. Seth has been joining us since the pregame show, and he's going to continue to ride shotgun for a little longer. We have some other guests joining us. Jack, Mr. Bossman there at 10K Takes. He's going to join us in the second intermission. And Chad Minton of Catfish on Ice podcast and editor-in-chief of Predlines is going to join us post-game. We also got Alex Micheletti, who's going to be dropping by as well sometime between the second and third period. And we have plays underway again. And like Hoppy said, and Seth, I think you can agree with this, the Wild are really going to show us, fans and Diener, what the rest of this game is going to look like for them in the first 5 minutes. And they really have to push the pace. And I hope they don't get sloppy and kind of get distracted.
Over-push it.
Exactly. Because they're just going to take more stupid penalties. And that's literally what has hampered them in the early portions of this game. Now they're moving the puck okay from what I see in the early minute or so. Able to at least get the puck in the offensive zone. But Nashville, again, I know it's because the Wild are giving them that opportunity, but they're finding space and they're fucking skating with it, man. The Nashville Predators are playing a good hockey game today.
Yeah, it's a team that came into this game with nothing to lose. They're 1-4 on the season. They were not, expected widely to challenge in this game. And so, they were playing with house money, and they are doing what a lot of teams have done, is just try to shut down the likes of Kaprizov and Fiala. And if you can do that, then those other guys have to step up and try to find a way to score. And so far, nobody has.
And we got Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, and Zuccarello now on the ice, the top line. And I mean, Eriksson Ek has started to really find his game and roll between Zuccarello and Kaprizov. Hoppy pointed this out earlier that Kaprizov and Zuccarello right now, they're just passing tic-tac-toe. Like they're not pulling the trigger, right? And Ek is starting to be that guy who they're setting him up for. But at the end of the day, boys, like, Ek is perfectly fine not even shooting the puck on net and still being a presence out there and having a role. That those two other players, I mean, Kaprizov and Zuccarello, like, they have to start putting the puck in the net too. So I just don't think that line is playing to their potential, to what that line can truly do. So I'm still, I've seen glimpses of it. I haven't seen it throughout an entire game, and I'm hoping that they can pick it up here. But again, credit to Nashville Predators. They're taking advantage of every Minnesota Wild mistake here, and the Wild look like they've come out with a little bit more oomph, energy, but Nashville with their responses here, I mean, and their transitions, I mean, they're still looking pretty solid. Hoppy, I got a package today, and it wasn't the Lupulin beer. I was really hoping it'd be that. I had to sign for it and everything.
Well, go on. What was it?
Oh, it was just cords, mic cords, and
Not fun stuff.
Kinky.
and batteries for my camera. So Hoppy, what are you drinking there from our friends at Lupulin, and those who tune into this or who are watching in passing, if you found us in your searches on Google and YouTube, we're a craft beer and hockey podcast here at the Soda Pod, hosting a live watch along on the Hockey Podcast Network for Nashville, Minnesota Wild. But we talk a lot about craft beer. I mean, I have one on tap here. Hoppy has one from our friends at Lupulin Brewing, a unbelievable brewery in Minnesota. Talk a little bit about what you're drinking there.
What are you drinking? Did you tell us earlier and I just missed it, or?
I just went ahead and started cracking it. I have the Hoynes Dark Matter here, which is
hello,
which is an unbelievable one. It's it really, I mean, Hoyne does great can art as well. This one is like the most famous one locally. Like, every college student has a Hoyne shirt or hoodie from like their local music bingo, pub or whatnot. Dark Matter. It's a stout. It's a dark beer. There's nothing. It's funny that because there's nothing like super special about it. It's just a very solid, stout. And for some reason, they've been able to just get the university market to buy in. Which a lot of young cats, guys or girls, they usually don't buy into the stouts until, like, I would say after university, after they've gone past the keg stands and the shotgunning and drinking the Luckies for us, I guess, would be the Millers or what do you drink, Hoppy? Your McGoldens for you up there. But no, graduating early to some really good craft beer here on the West Coast. But anyways, back to you. What are you drinking?
And I'll never get over, like, even though I know exactly what you're saying, the use of university instead of college just like confuses me every time for some reason.
We just don't use college. Like, college is like, if you don't get into university in Canada, you go to a college and have to pay only $1,000 for your whole semester. You don't get a good education.
Interesting. Okay, well, I have Just Looks at It. Delicious, hopefully, beer. It's risky here, so this is the one issue that I told you is the collaboration that they had done here with Looks Market.
Nice.
Just Looks at It. So it's a West Coast double IPA, which means we're running a risk here because you know that I'm typically not a West Coast guy, but I'm holding out hope here. Let's see.
Ooh. And how is it? First couple sips?
Real crisp, real clean. Does not at all drink like a 9.5%er. Holy fucking body bag. Whoa. So this is definitely something that, like, I wouldn't like stock in my fridge personally because it's not my style, but this is good for a change up because it's not like overly piney, right? I'm not having a Christmas tree like I do with some West Coasts. There's definitely some of that like pine earthiness to it, but I think it's a pretty good beer. Like, anyone that likes West Coast IPAs, you would fucking love this. Unless your goal is to drink a Christmas tree, then you go off and do whatever you do. But no, this is a good beer. I'm absolutely going to drink this whole thing. But yeah, just like being honest here, it's not like my go-to style by any means, but it is a very solid beer.
Awesome.
Thank you, Justin.
I have a collaboration beer that I'll get into later in the stream too, but quickly to comment on the game, Granlund in the box for the Nashville Predators now. So let's hope that the Minnesota Wild can really take advantage of this power play. And it was funny, right when this play was going down and you were talking there, Hoppy, I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, like this period has been a lot better for the Minnesota Wild. I feel like it's just back and forth. You know, if the transition game of both teams has been, on par and has been good thus far. And right before Granlund took the hooking call there, I was like, wow, they're unlike the first period where Nashville was applying pressure at their blue line to the Minnesota Wild. The neutral zone battles have been on, and there was one going on right there before the hooking play. So the game is getting a little bit more grimy. It's getting a little bit more dirty, and I think that the Minnesota Wild are really starting to push the pace here. Is it enough to come back from a 3-goal deficit? Who knows? But again, I mean, isn't that the worst lead in hockey?
Every lead is the worst lead in hockey. Because, I mean, this one, you think about it, if you get scored on once, then you really have the worst lead in hockey. So which one's actually worse? It's hard to say.
Tell us in the comments below. As always, like if anything happens of note that looks beautiful.
Yeah, you love all their can art, so I figured you'd really appreciate this cool like off logo on the glass they gave me.
Honestly, that is so sick. That's like tattoo worthy. It's so sick. I love it.
Okay, you won't do it.
I'm waiting like picking a Minnesota D1 team to go all in on. I'm just waiting for the right one.
What, have you fully decided, or are you still giving yourself a little bit of time to think on it?
I'm very much leaning towards Bemidji. I just need to somehow get a jersey from them. Once I have it, we're all in.
That's it, folks. Isha can be bought.
Oh, 100%.
Wow.
It's not easy to get a Bemidji jersey to Vancouver Island, British Columbia.
Is it easier to get a Mankato jersey there? Or a Gopher jersey?
I mean,
Bemidji's actually the closest, so
yeah, but what?
Yeah, they can just walk it up there.
What franchise wants to buy my fandom? I don't see the Gophers lining up. I mean, I've been in contact with them at Bemidji. We're working something out. That's what I'm saying. Is when it lands on my door, I'm all in.
This just in, folks. We have the North Branch JV hockey team sending Isha a jersey. That's his team.
By the way, Grant, Dark Matter is so effing good. You got Dark Matter on the shelves of Alberta? That's amazing.
Jesus Christ. We're going to do a whole Canada off here, aren't we?
Dude, that's awesome. Hoyne Brewing. Shout out to you good folks. That's awesome to see. I have another Hoyne actually for I don't know if they're the collaboration beer, but I got 3 on tap for this soda stream. Watch along here on the Hawks Podcast Network YouTube channel.
Do you enjoy hearing him say Hoyne as much as I do?
Hoyne.
It's magical.
Well, am I saying it wrong? I'm not saying it wrong.
No, you're not saying it wrong at all. It's just like it'll come up again and you'll say it and Seth's going to laugh and be like, yeah, I get it.
It's
oh, by the way, just commenting on this game quick. The puck just barely crossing the line there, bouncing and being batted in the air. Minnesota still just under a minute left on their power play. Close chance there. And I mean, those are maybe the type of dirty goals that they're going to have to get to swing momentum, because it looks like Nashville, again, shutting down the Minnesota Wild's top players to get any of those nice snipes. Sorry to cut you off there, Seth. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it produces the literal exact opposite reaction when you say Hoyne as to when somebody says moist. Just literally the exact opposite reaction.
I know. I dated a girl who just like could not stand that word, and it was just the.
How often did you say it?
Way too often, apparently.
Oh my. Okay.
Anyways, draw your own conclusions, folks. But that's like when I said croissant. Hoppy was making fun of me. Why? That it is a croissant, or actually un croissant. Not une.
This is America.
This is America. We don't talk that French shit down here.
I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Oh, shout out Entourage. Anthony commenting here. You can buy Bemidji State jerseys. Yeah, you can. You just have to go in game in arena game day to get one, I think.
No,
Sean Costco, Bemidji probably has the most Western Canadians.
Probably true.
Probably.
Mankato might. Mankato does a decent amount of scouting, and depends on what you define as West, because Eichel complain about Midwest all the time, but when you talk Western Canada, it's literally anything that's west of Toronto. So
No. Oh my God. West of Saskatchewan. Get it right, ladies and gentlemen.
is that not a city in Ontario?
That is a province in Canada.
I don't believe you.
That's where some of the best hockey players
Isn't
come
everything either like Ontario, Quebec, or west of those?
from. Or just Vancouver.
Nah, Vancouver doesn't really matter.
Oh man, I would like to say agree with you, but it kind of does. Grant answering my question saying, yes, sir. So expensive out here though, but that was my shit when I was still living in Vancouver, working that liquor store hustle. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see that Hoyne's even on the shelves in a ton of Vancouver liquor stores.
See, Seth, I told you.
Because again, Vancouver Island breweries right now are killing it in BC, but Vancouver, they still like to just give credit to their own on the shelf here. But again, this is a Nashville and Minnesota live stream. I don't know why I'm going off about Vancouver here,
Hey
but
guys,
appreciate
guess
the
what?
Canadiana love there, Grant.
Guess what?
What's up?
Chicago just gave up another goal to start off a game within the
Nice.
first 10 minutes.
That's fun.
Wow. Well, I'm actually seeing David Schuster, longtime radio personality in Chicago, all sports Chicago, and he's just going off about this team, going off about the Blackhawks. He was with them actually and covered them during their dynasty, like, and I'm talking like on the planes with them to games, playoffs and all that, like full access there. So he's great to talk to, and if you guys want to hear about just more of the good and fun stuff that go on with the Blackhawks organization, because I know there's not a lot of good going on with that organization often, historically and off the ice right now. But Blackhawks on Ice podcast, give David Schuster a little love. I produce the damn thing, so if you just want to support me, go listen to that. But yeah, it's crazy, the Chicago narrative. I'm excited for just Minnesota to play them this season and us just beat the wheels off them. I don't think we play them until the new year, though, eh?
You by that you mean win 6-5?
Win all 5 of the games. How many times they're playing together? No, four times. I'd rather that rather than a 6-5 goal scoring output. So Minnesota Wild couldn't capitalize on that power play early in this period. We're almost halfway through the period now. Nashville
This period's going way faster, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's because there's not so many penalties that the Wild are taking and so many stoppages there. I mean, the Nashville Predators still leading in shots, narrowly now, though, 15-12. Still leading where it counts, though, 3-0 scoring. But we said it right off the hop. And also in this period, the Wild are just getting more shots on net. They may not be those high danger shots, but they're creating more offense now, which kind of just what transpired right now. Whether they got a shot on net, it clearly wasn't going to go in, but it caused just a battle for the puck behind the net, which is what was going on now, and then led to another chance as well. So getting busy in the offensive zone is what the Minnesota Wild need to do with this Nashville team again, because they're shutting down the Wild's top players and not allowing them to work any of their magic or even getting any of those high danger chances on net.
We had one in which on our end got very lucky. Capo did not see it, and it just slid on the left side of the left post. Like, that was close.
Not the best welcoming to Kakkonen this season, but hey.
I don't know. I think he's battled through it and he's been resilient with it. Like, he's not, I don't know. A lot of goals to be down, giving up that many that early.
If he can keep this game right now at this, not allow any more for Nashville, and just give the Wild the best chance to go. What's up, Micheletti? Hoppy,
hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hoppy has left this live stream now, but we got Alex Micheletti here, Minnesota hockey legend. What's going on, buddy? We're just talking about this game, this period, how Minnesota really turned it up now in the second and are just getting shots on net, which is better than what they did in the first, which was just honestly just take penalties. What are you seeing so far in this period and in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I did not expect Nashville to come out this hot, especially with Ingram's first NHL start. That was interesting, and they got their butts whooped last night against Winnipeg, so I was not expecting that at all. But I mean, the Wild look a little bit tired from, back-to-back overtime games. And so, I don't know. If they can get a couple power plays, and keep the pressure up, I think they're still in this game. I mean, this guy's, it's his first, like I said, first NHL start. So they're definitely not out of it.
That is a good point. And I was critical that the Wild just looked slow. Actually, I didn't say that exactly. I said Nashville looked really, really quick, and their skating looked phenomenal. And that could be credit that for what you just said there, that the Minnesota Wild, they played yesterday. And there we have it. Despite having some slower legs, they get their first goal of the game in this period. And honestly, boys, with the way that it's been going this period compared to the first, they deserve it. They deserve it. And who is it? Is it Bukestad or Sturm? They look exactly the same from the front here. But there it is, Seth. You got the better look on it here. Just walk us through it here for those.
I haven't gotten there yet, so I'll walk you through it in real time when my TV catches up.
He scores the goal and a player ends up under Bukestad's leg. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Here we go.
God, that's
we'll take it.
Left, just inside the left post. And so Isha, that gives you the lead in the Locked On Lineup Challenge.
There we go. There we go.
I hate my own game.
but again, I'm not surprised given the way that the Wild have turned it up this period that they get rewarded for it. Too many bad penalties in the first. Now again, we weren't harping on Spurgeon too much for his penalty. I mean, it was a penalty hands down. Nothing like egregious, on that play or anything. But overall, any other takeaways, Micheletti, and anything that the Wild need to keep working on to find some more continued success as they've been able to at least get one more goal up on the Nashville Predators now, which this is a 3-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that top line needs to really put some pressure on this Nashville decor. I mean, Yossi's world class, but the rest of the crew, I mean, isn't that great. I mean, Ekholm is okay, but after that, it's not great.
Saros, but he's not playing tonight, so there you go.
Right. So I mean, like I said, this it's a rookie goaltender who's never played in the NHL till tonight. I mean, keep the pressure on him. He's bound to let in a couple more. I mean, you see it all the time in the NHL here. I mean, he's not going to hold this lead for that long, I don't think. I mean, the centers have to play a lot better too. And just we got to win some faceoffs here. Get the puck deep and and rattle this goalie a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have the exact face-off numbers in front of me, but we'll get it up in a little bit here. But going into the second period, Nashville was up, quite a bit in the face-off dot too, and it showed, right? They were controlling play more in the first period, where now the Wild are battling a little bit more, and it's kind of back and forth, forcing turnovers and then rushes on opposite ends. And there's more battles in the neutral zone now, which, again, I thought that was very, very smart on Nashville, the way that they played that first period, taking advantage of the Wild's slow legs and just mistakes in that whenever the Wild brought the puck into the blue line, into the offense, over the blue line, into the offensive zone, that's when they would corral whoever was bringing the puck in, be it a Kaprizov, a Zuccarello, a Fiala, or even a Matt Dumba, someone with a little skill who will be able to start that play or get a shot off. Where now they're just playing dirty hockey. Like they're just coming in, battling in the neutral zone, and there it is again. Nick Bukestad's first goal of the season. 3 shot attempts tonight. Already just has just under 5 minutes of ice time right now. But how about his Halloween costume, boys? I mean, I just saw that on Twitter. That was
hilarious.
That was the best. And it's a credit again to how well this fourth line has played, that they are the ones that are asked to kind of help bring this team back up off the mat.
Yeah.
That group is just playing so well. And, Bukestad too, has looked better so far this year than he did last year. And I think a key to that is him having the off season to get fully healthy and coming into the season without any sort of lingering issues in the injury department, has looked good with Sturm and Duhaime. And I love that Dean Evison is going to those guys more to try to help kind of jumpstart this offense.
I for sure thought Pitlick was going to be in the lineup tonight, especially after after an overtime game. But it wasn't to be. But yeah, the fourth line has been impressive and keeping the Wild in the game. So yeah, it should be a wild third period for sure too.
Yeah, and I mean Duhaime, I think got a little overexcited in that first period, and took a penalty there, just playing his game, because overall he's been able to keep it pretty clean, playing his hard-nosed power forward game. And an opportunity there by the Nashville Predators. Good job on the Minnesota Wild. And again, now that's just an example there. Coming off of that chance by Nashville, they just took advantage of the opportunity. It wasn't clean coming through the neutral zone, and they ultimately didn't get a shot off after that, but they were able to quickly transition and apply pressure again to Nashville, and that's what you want to see. But it's a back and forth game as we see here, boys, which is nice that the Wild are now matching the pressure that Nashville put on them. Can Nashville keep up this pressure for the entire game? Well, they're going to keep trying as they just score now. Oh my God. Wow. Nashville answers. Minnesota Wild up. Now gets the Minnesota Wild there 4-1. 17 shots to the Minnesota Wild, 16. But again here, boys, we saw as soon as the Minnesota Wild started to shoot more, they got a little rewarded for it. So they're going to just have to keep matching off this one. Wow. I'm just taking a look at this again.
That hurts.
Gross.
Ooh, wow. At first I thought it was it was a ringer off the post there, but no, that was a beautiful shot there from the blue line by the looks of it. Wow. Was that tipped?
Boy, that's hard to tell. I'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know if that was tipped or not. If so, that was close, but I mean a nice shot regardless to get it on net there. Yeah, that was just a beautiful shot by the Nashville Predators. We lost Micheletti there. We'll bring him back. Bringing Hoppy back into the fold here. Quickly, Hoppy, a couple. Okay, Hoppy's going rogue during this stream, man. Whatever. Alex,
Misha, you're the one that told me that we could only have 3 people on at a time. Don't put this shit on me.
Okay. Alex, thoughts on that play there, as we were just giving the Wild praise for getting shots back on and matching the pace there. This is what they're going to do to be able to come back in this game. And then all of a sudden, Nashville with a great scoring opportunity, and they capitalize on it.
So here's, I just saw the replay, and the shot by Yossi deflected off of Forsberg to the right. And Capo was setting up and didn't react to it. It deflected into the bottom right corner of the net, and yeah, ugly. And these, I don't know how much of this stuff can necessarily be put on Capo as being his fault, but this is just collectively not a great team effort here tonight, to say the least.
No, and again, that one wasn't directly on him. He was screened, first of all. Whether it was a tip, then it would make more sense. If it wasn't, then again, he screened. He didn't see that shot. But let's just say he had a clear vision to it. Then we could be a little bit more critical, because we talked about it earlier. He needs to do everything he can to lock this one up to at least give his team a chance. And now we're kind of just back to exactly where we were going into this second period, with Nashville up by 3 goals.
I don't think it's exactly where we were, because at least we've scored on this young goalie. He had
caught
a
up in
lot
shots,
of confidence coming in.
Yeah, and I mean caught up in shots too. I mean they're dead even, 16 apiece now. Still down by 3. I mean I just am not noticing the Wild's big guns. I mean the only time I really noticed Ek was when he had that missed opportunity in the slot. I haven't seen Kaprizov really do much with or without the puck. Zuccarello, though I know Grant's not rooting for him, I haven't seen Zuccarello do much either. And I mean the deeper pieces of this team, sure, they're doing okay, but Duhaime took a penalty. I mean, Foligno's been in the box too, so it's not like this team is doing itself any favors right now.
No, the team collectively is not doing itself favors.
And Seth, I know you've been on here. You've been on here since the start of the show. If whenever you have to leave and do your business, my friend, you let us know. But before then, just please plug away whatever you want in regards to your work on Locked On and all that stuff too. You don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying if you're leaving, before or second intermission, just know we want to give you a few minutes here to pump whatever you need to and whatever you want to in regards to your content here on the Hockey Podcast Network's Nashville, Minnesota Watchalong, presented by the Soda Pod.
For sure, and I Appreciate it. I'll probably see how the rest of this period goes. I may hop off to drown my sorrows a little bit, but
There's no reason you can't do that here.
Well, fair. It's it's fun to have taken the opportunity to grab a brand and build it up as an errant dumba shot goes into the crowd. And so we're doing a ton, just trying a whole bunch of different things to try to hit every possible level of content possible. I mean, we got episodes every day, Monday through Friday. You can find pregame videos on YouTube with just short little keys to the game kind of things that I'm looking for every game that happens throughout the season. Live post games whenever we get the chance, including probably tonight, depending on how the rest of this game goes. And we've got some other content that we'll be unveiling exclusively to Instagram coming up that I have just kind of been inspired from some of my previous stops. We've got the Locked On Lineup Challenge that is exclusive to Twitter. We will probably be doing some sort of polls that are exclusive to Facebook. Just trying to corner the market on wild content because, I, to quote our friend Spoke Z, am just a sicko when it comes to doing any number of different wild content things because I truly love it. And so your best bet, I mean, I could name off every different spot that we exist, but your best bet is just search Locked On Wild and just click on and follow every spot that it pops up because there are quite a few of them.
Awesome. And please do. Seth and the whole crew there are doing outstanding work. I just want to comment quickly on just a few sequences of plays that went on there. I mean, Nashville, they're moving the puck and passing is spot on tonight. When they came into the Wild zone there, I don't know who the player was, but a nice move to basically take control of the neutral zone before carrying the puck over the Wild's blue line and had like a 3-pass play that he facilitated to get a shot on net. Then quickly the Wild answer back and apply pressure themselves. Now, it wasn't as pretty as the passing play that Nashville just had, but they got the puck on net. They were able to pounce on the rebound, and credit to the Nashville defense and netminder. They were able to Seth's just getting that. Seth's just getting the feed right now.
We're in like way different waves here. Like it's me and then a little lag, then Isha, then a little lag. Then Seth.
I'm like 10 seconds behind Hoppy. Like I'm not too much. Seth's like a whole like 30.
I'm a full 30 to a minute back.
Like Seth,
Isha, I gave it a little bit of time because I thought you were only that far behind. But when I came in and made the goal horn sound, like that was well after the goal.
And we're all just like, what?
No, I had seen it.
That was the fun of it.
Yeah, I had seen it. Well after 10, 20 seconds. Say we're making do here. Thanks, Sportsnet.
We do what we have to do.
But what is it? What on your time, Hobby? About 5 more minutes? 4:30, something like that.
I have a commercial. I don't know.
Well, I mean, before then, I thought it was just around 5 minutes left in this period.
Dear God.
Realistically, I mean, textbook answer. The Wild need a goal going into this third, obviously. But if they can't get that,
4:30 according to NHL.com.
Okay. So
they're
Hoppy,
gonna have to kill off another penalty.
So now they're showing replays of that Fiala wonderfulness.
Goalie interference.
Because I saw him. He was talking to the ref there. Oh, okay, here it is. Yep. Yeah, knocks the goalie's helmet right off.
I mean, barely.
I did ask him to go hard in the paint, so I mean, I feel like this one's on me.
That's noble of you.
Yeah, I mean, I hate seeing those calls, but I mean,
I get it.
That's a penalty.
I don't think
that's a penalty.
But was he in the paint?
I saw a blade go through the paint there.
Oh, okay. Then
yeah. He right in the tip, just the tip, but he
just to see how it feels.
Just to see how it feels. But the Wild, they know how this penalty kill feels against the Nashville Predators, and it's not good. It is not good.
They're getting a little more than the tip on the power play, though.
Yeah, and the Minnesota Wild are now out shooting the Nashville Predators officially 18-17.
Oh, so this is going to be an outstatted loss for the Wilds too.
Maybe, but we'll see how the third goes again. The Wild have kind of they've played a wacky game here, and again, and it must be just coming off a back-to-back, the first back-to-back of the season, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
no.
Was it? What was the last one? Last weekend?
First 2 games of the season.
Right. Of course. Against Anaheim and LA.
I don't know how far you guys are behind, but they absolutely should have scored a goal.
I just saw that too. That was an incredible
Give it 2
chance.
minutes.
They're not moving their feet even enough on the penalty kill, the Wild, in my opinion.
Well, no, they've given up on this game, Isha. They don't care anymore.
Down by 3, though? I mean, there's so much
Correct.
hockey still to be played. 3
I'm not
minutes
saying
left.
it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying I'm watching this team and, like, aside from maybe 3 players, they've given up.
Which is annoying because after the first period, they didn't give up. They came out in the second and they were humming and they scored a goal as a result. I mean, that last goal, the goalie was screened, and another good play by Nashville there. But I don't foresee the Wild maybe coming out with the win in this game, but I could see them making a game out of it in the third if they play like they did most of the second period. I really could. Here we go, Sean again. And this is true. Nashville played last night in Winnipeg, so no excuses. You know what? Fair enough,
agree.
Sean.
Played a better team last night, and they had to travel.
Regardless of the scoring outcome, Grant just does not want Zuccarello.
Ooh. No, this does not, translate exclusively to Minnesota Wild play. It just seems like Minnesota sports wise in general, this state has a huge propensity to play down to their competition.
Dude,
And
the Vikings, Kirk, did you see his stats today? 0 yards, 0 touchdowns. Absolutely atrocious. Him and Zimmer should both be fired.
So we're giving him the thumbs down, I'm
Ding.
guessing, then today.
It's a bye week, Isha.
Yeah, he was rested in favor of Czech's notes, Sean Mannion. No, this is just like this. We see way too much of this is just not getting up for a game, playing down to your competition, whatever label you want to give it. Like, I don't know. There's no reason for this type of a performance at home against a team like this, but this is kind of become the MO, is to just let teams in it for too long, and by the time they finally get back up, it's too late. And
I think it's 100% too late now, as Nashville Predators really
He finally caught up.
putting the nail in the coffin. It is a 5-1 game here. The Nashville Predators only leading by 1 shot, 19-18, but they are leading by 4 goals here.
Maybe.
Oh, as
that's
watching
borderline.
the replay.
It's probably good, but that's a pretty high swing. Maybe.
Don't give us hope.
There's no hope whether or not he scored that goal.
I mean, that was a beautiful deflection
It
again.
was beautiful.
If legal, that stick did get up, but I'm thinking that it's a good goal. It didn't look like it was coming from airborne. It wasn't coming from like a slash. It was just a nice deflection.
What a mess.
We had some connection issues with Alex earlier, so glad you're back here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. You hopping in the stream now, 2 more goals. What is this?
I don't know, that last one. I mean, Spurgeon had it, and then great play midair by the young Nashville kids. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little worried about 97 right now. I mean, hasn't done much. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with that.
We'll have to try to
quiet.
dig into that tonight, Micheletti.
Yeah. I mean, playing some tougher teams in this division. I mean, I don't know. No goals yet. That's really starting to scare me a little bit.
Yeah, well, when we talked about it earlier, it was just, from what I've seen anyways, is that Nashville's just putting at least 2 players on him, Fiala, Zuccarello, at any point they can. And it seems to be working. Like, I don't think he is messing up at all. I just think he hasn't had any room to do anything.
No.
Well, there are a lot of people who are already done with him, according to the general fan circles on Twitter and Facebook.
Oh boy.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like there was a contingent that was done with him before he even re-signed. I don't know. I'm probably giving it too much attention as it is.
Yeah, maybe a little bit here. Duhaim's out on the ice now. Like, yeah, this one, it's going to be a hard one for the Minnesota Wild to come back here.
Here's one thing that I will not abide is rooting for players to give up a large amount of goals and get embarrassed so that changes get made.
No, I mean, there's still 20 minutes of play here.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, a chance
Goal,
here
goal,
going up.
Goal.
Oh,
Fourth line again. Fourth
love
line
it.
again.
There you go. That is the answer that that they needed. Now, I would have loved to see it when the game was only 4-1. But hey, I'll take it. The Wild, they just want to play. They just want to play down by 3 goals tonight. I feel like that is just the narrative tonight. Wow.
Great play by Duhaim again. Just getting it on net and putting some pressure on Ingram here. Great shot.
I say 6-5?
No, honestly, that was unbelievable by Brandon Duhaim, making up for his penalty that he took earlier in the game 100%. A little toe drag there too. That was incredible. And then Sturm just there to put away the garbage. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We're not seeing it from the top guys right now. So hey, I'll take it from the fourth line. So this period has come to a close. Shots are an even 19 apiece from the Nashville Predators and the Minnesota Wild. Nashville leads the game by 3 goals. Surprise, surprise. 5-2 game, 20 minutes still left in hockey. Still a ton of time left in this watchalong/soda stream. Thanks everybody who's been tuning in and out. We really appreciate it. Seth, are we bidding you a goodbye now as you've joined us for a few segments here? We have some more guests joining in the fold. Alex is here. I know you got some work to do. Again, where can our listeners, those viewing this live stream, where can they find you again on social media?
Follow. Wow, if I could talk. Too much of this, and I'll do one more before I leave.
A Sunday night poll.
Yes, Sunday night many polls. Just search for Locked On Wild on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow me on Twitter at Seth Topes. It's weird having 2 accounts to try to tweet from on game nights, so I mostly tweet from my personal account. And then I have some tidbits and takeaways that I do on the Locked On Wild account. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I'm actually legitimately trying to figure out all the different platforms we're on. And of course, the big heavy hitter now is our YouTube channel, which has taken off. We've got like 235 subscribers already, I think, and somewhere around 13,000 views within the first 3 weeks of the channel launching. So keep joining for as much Wild content as you could possibly handle. Of course, huge thank you to you guys for always being not only pod friends but friends as well. Always love to collaborate as much as we possibly can. And best of luck here in the rest of the stream. And maybe I'll pop on here at the end and kind of see how things are going.
All right, man. Cheers as always. Again, go give Seth and all his work a follow. Second intermission, we have some more guests rolling in the show. We'll bring on our friend Jack the Boss Man at 10K Takes here momentarily. First, a quick word from our friends at DraftKings. Again, you're listening and joining us here on the Hockey Podcast Network's Watchalong Nashville Predators, Minnesota Wild, presented to you by the Soda Pod, 7th Ave, Northland Vodka, and our friends at DraftKings. We'll see you on the other side for some second intermission action. And we're back.
Hey.
Second intermission. We got Alex and Boss Man here. How's it going, buddy?
Do you want the honest answer?
Oh yeah, we want as honest as we can get.
All right. So I spent my my weekend in Grand. Oh shit! I almost dropped the phone. The weekend in Grand Forks where I went to college. Binge drinking, not sleeping. eating like a pile, and walking around in 25-degree weather, and then proceeded to have to drive back today for 5.5 hours. If you can tell my voice is shot, I feel like I got fucked in the mouth by King Kong. And the Wild are getting smoked. So, awesome last second goal there in the period. But yeah, I've had better days, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, fair enough, and I'm glad you even answered the bell here. With all that in mind, I can't believe you even agreed to jump on here. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. No pressure, to stay on too long. We just want to, just get your opinion on first the Wild season, and then obviously a little bit about this game, or even just the Wild's play this weekend, because obviously came off a win last night, looking good. Tonight came out of the gate super sluggish, and it just seems like it's the bottom six that are really helping bring any sort of life into this game. So where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about just your thoughts on the Wild season this weekend, or do you want to just jump into the weeds into this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can start with the season. It's been electric. They're keeping it interesting. What's even better than winning every game is being able to win every game in overtime, which is something that Wild fans up until like last year know nothing about, winning in overtime. And then, being able to do the Titanic bit on that shit every time it happens. So, to be honest, it's been a super fun year. We've seen some guys really break out. Eriksson X having a hell of a start, and amongst others, Kaprizov's been a little more quiet, but he's like the king of assists, which you got to have some of those. So, it's been exciting, definitely stressful, I'd say. It'd be really nice if we could, like blow a team out for once, but, we'll keep it interesting. It'll keep us on our toes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, this team, they just, even now, I mean, they have the Fialas, they have Kaprizovs, they have Zuccarellos, but it's just like no one's pulling the trigger on a regular basis. And we've been talking about it throughout this entire stream that like Zuccarello and Kaprizov, it's been the issue for both of them in the early parts of this season, how they just want those fancy plays. They just want to pass back and forth. And Fiala, I don't want to say that he's personally been struggling, because I've seen him trying out there, see that he's actually shooting. It's just like teams are planning for shutting these players down on the Wild too. And we're seeing that tonight against a team that I didn't think was going to do it at all in the Nashville Predators. Like they don't even have Jesse Saros in net right now, and the Wild only have one goal. So going back to this game, the difference between the first and second period in my mind is that the Wild were just slow and didn't. They took too many penalties, which just gave Nashville the edge. In the second, they really turned it on, played a little bit more of a disciplined game, and started to match their skating. Am I missing anything out of the narrative of this game, boys? Alex, we'll start with you.
No, I mean, that's, you hit it nail on the head. The first line has been a no-show. Too many passengers in the top six. It'd be nice to get Jared Spurgeon, Matt Dumba going too on the back end. Get an early power play here, get the crowd back into it. You saw right when the fourth line, right when Sturm scored again, the crowd was roaring again. When the X gets loud like that, then it starts to really create havoc and pressure on the opposing team. So hopefully they can get an early one here. And like I've been saying, I mean, this is the kid's first NHL start. He's still got to be nervous, especially after giving up that late one too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else do you want to see from this team? I guess not tonight, boss man, because I don't want to say it's a write-off, because hey, they're in the same position they were going into the second period. They got only 20 minutes now instead of 40 to at least, to at least not be embarrassed out there, get another goal or two. But looking into the rest of the season here, based on the small sample size that we've seen thus far, the Wild play, what are some things that they're doing well overall as a team, and what are some things they need to tighten up on to not throw away games, kind of like what they're doing tonight with the Nashville Predators?
It kind of feels like sometimes they're kind of all over the place, and especially like in the neutral zone, the puck is just going left, right, everywhere. They can't connect on passes. The penalty kill has just been brutal these last few games, especially I think the game against the Kings. I'm pretty sure 2 of their goals were on the power play. So I guess just discipline. Trying to avoid those penalties, like you said, Nicoletti. I mean, those have been killer, especially this game. The other thing I want to see is all of Kirill Kaprizov's Russian followers understand that us calling him Jesus was a total joke. And
that one guy last night was scaring me. I was like, oh my God, here comes Russia.
Yeah, dude. These motherfuckers from Russia are going to create Cold War #2. So
wait, what's going on here?
That
I
needs
missed this.
Well.
I missed this. Elaborate.
Our comrades in Russia are a little upset with the 10K boys for we didn't even make the meme, but we tweeted a meme of Kirill Kaprizov and Jesus Christ being the same person. It did pretty well on Twitter, and it hit Russia, and Russia didn't like it very much, as well as people who don't believe in Christianity. They weren't a fan either. So, you can't pander to everybody. I guess that's the lesson learned here.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky Fyodor Emelianenko didn't just punch your face out like he did to what was it, Tim Johnson the other night, because apparently he's a pretty devout Orthodox Christian from Russia, and I don't think he would take kindly to that Kaprizov experience, that meme as well.
It's Celine Dion's lawyers in the motherland.
The motherland. Add them to the list, man. So Celine tried to take us down for good, but I just created the Twitter burner, and we're fucking set there. We've defeated Celine Dion. Russia, though, that's going to be a whole nother issue that I might have to go up the chain for help for.
Yeah, you need more than just 10K takes to take down Russia. You need like 100. But anyways.
Yeah. Or 100 bottles of vodka, that might do it too.
Only if it's Northland. Shout out Parrish and all our friends there.
Look at that.
Alex, what else did you want to hit on in regards to this game? Or is there any other hockey topics that you've been itching to bring up here on this Soda Stream?
Yeah, how about the Oilers being undefeated? I mean, they just don't seem like they're going to be stopped. I mean, if they can continue to get good goaltending, watch out for the Oilers. There's McDavid and Draisaitl are just on a whole nother level.
Can we also talk about the fucking Sabres? Like what? How? It's not, I don't know.
Crazy.
Honestly,
really still, but that is hilarious. That they're 4-1, right? 5-1.
Yeah. I mean, they had a good chance of winning last night too.
Unlike the Chicago Blackhawks, who are just eye test and analytics, they just look and are horrible right now. Buffalo, for some reason, the teams that are showing up to play them aren't showing up at all. Because I mean, the only Vancouver Canucks game I watched this year was them against Buffalo, and they were horrendous. Now, credit to Buffalo, like Jeff Skinner actually had a tremendous game. The goalie played fine. Rasmus Dahlin played okay, but they weren't a good team out there. Vancouver was awful. And maybe that's just Vancouver this season. I don't know. I haven't watched enough. But from what I'm gathering, every team that's just playing them right now is having just a stinker of a night. So I don't know if that can last personally.
Well, Craig Anderson's 40 years old too. Like, they have a 40-year-old in net like that.
So does Edmonton, and you just said they have good goaltending.
I mean, if they can continue, I said continue to get goaltending. They gave
up 5 to Anaheim.
Yeah, I mean, but they won.
The Wild have given up their
beat Vegas
goals to Anaheim as well.
Honestly, which is a concern.
Yeah, big time. I think we need to send someone in there to Buffalo to just kick their ass and remind them that they're the Buffalo Sabres, and then we'll be back on track.
I mean, I don't mind them winning and ruining their lottery chances.
That's true.
When are the Coyotes going to get a win, too? They were so bad last night, too. They just get shut out by the Islanders, too, at home. Like, yikes.
It's so nice and so refreshing to play other teams this season, like not playing the Coyotes every other fucking night.
Right.
Oh, dude, if you guys
every
know
game's a late night game.
The meme of Ben Affleck smoking the cigarette that we tweet all the time, that originally came from some random person in the Wild Twitter space that just said, 4 games straight against St. Louis upcoming, and it's just that. I was like, there's no one else to play, so you just have to play St. Louis 4 different times. Like, oh, it's so nice to be back in like a normal season. Oh.
Right. Full barns. Yeah, it's great.
But we don't play Chicago till is it late January?
I think it's January,
the new year, yeah.
Oh, and that one's going to be a slam dunk too. So a little disappointed there that, we don't get to play them in 2021, but
well, now Patrick Kane has COVID too. So it's like,
yeah.
oh man, just continues the chaos in Chicago.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird seeing it.
All
like
these
that.
guys are
And,
getting COVID again now. So it's like, oh geez, here we go.
And they were supposed to be like a threat, right? Like once they picked up Fleury, it was like, okay, Chicago's back. Like they're going to do shit again. And
just no defense.
Oh, dude, even before Fleury pickup, I thought they were going to be good this year. Very wrong.
It's bizarre. I mean, it's still early, like
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Buffalo being 4-1 or 5-1,
right.
I think it's so early, but like, I don't know. It's weird. Some weird shit going on.
I got to ask you now, because we got the bye week right now. So obviously no Vikings game to watch, but like, optimistically, like what's the best case scenario for this next stretch of 5 games for them? Because it's a bloodbath.
Oh, some of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, they're lucky if they get 1 or 2. I mean, I'm hoping they can at least get 2.
I'd be happy with 1.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas is going to be extreme. I mean, that's a primetime game too. So it's like, oh man,
Dallas is a Super Bowl caliber team this year. So, it could be brutal, but the Vikings also do play to their competition. You got to remember, they almost beat the Cardinals. They should have beat the Cardinals.
Should have.
Weren't for Mr. Joseph. So
the Cincinnati loss isn't looking bad now either. Cincinnati
they're
kicked
hot.
Baltimore's ass too.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Yeah, Jamar Chase, man, rookie of the year for sure.
I started the Jets defense for fantasy football today because I always trust ESPN too much, like that their numbers are the best. And, like they were the highest projected defense on the waiver wire, and I picked them up minus 11 points.
Didn't they give up 54 points?
Starting a fucking defense. Yes, they gave up 54 points to Mac Jones. Like, okay.
How many teams are on the waiver wire? Like 3?
It clearly was less than I thought.
That's so embarrassing if you give up 50 plus in the NFL these days.
That's like a college score.
Ridiculous.
It's not a good weekend, sports-wise. Last night's game was incredible. Everything else has just been a wash.
Hey, how about the Gopher hockey team getting swept by Duluth, too? Just not even showing up all weekend.
You'd thank the WCHA for that one.
Hang on. Not showing up all weekend? Didn't they lose both games by 1?
I mean, last night they didn't have – it was a boring game for both
Hey,
teams.
Hoppy, if you're not first, you're last.
Accurate. Shit, they're second, third,
fuck that.
Fourth.
That was like
hell, there's even fifth.
Hey, Wisconsin got swept by St. Cloud. Wisconsin's terrible, so they're worse.
Working hard and having fun. Fuck that.
Fucking winning. I love that. God. Bill Guerin.
Maybe we need Bill to just go down the locker room and just talk to the team right now.
No, dude, I want him to go fucking play.
Yeah, true.
Little power forward out there.
Dude, ding some guys up.
Throw him on the first line. Fuck it.
What's the first line right now? As far as I'm concerned, it's Bugstead, Duhaime, and Sturm.
Yeah, where's Kirill tonight? I mean, where's Zuccarello?
They have no
I'm
ice
right
to
there,
work.
aren't I? Don't they have both goals?
Yeah.
Or fourth
goals.
line?
Yeah, fourth line, right? Both goals.
Hey,
4L squared, boys.
Maybe we
Fourth
want to
line
shut
for
down
life.
Roman Yossi out there too. Jesus, the guy's having just a monster night.
Dude, he is a monster, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so good, and he's so noticeable. And just man, that's the narrative. He just always seems to find space out there.
Right.
Even if his teammates don't help him out, he can. Yeah, he can turn it on in most scenarios.
And the worst part in all of this is that we're getting beat by a team that allows their fans to throw dead animals on the ice. So that's the most embarrassing storyline here.
Yeah, and who? Well, I was gonna throw some banner hate towards them, but Minnesota has the #1 fans, so I mean I can't really talk much about that one.
Dude, we're watching the game of banner teams right now.
Hey, the Kraken pulled a wild last night too. They retired the number 32 jersey for the fans. I was like, oh boy, here we go.
They need to take it a step further and hang up a banner that says 2021 season participants.
Yeah, well, it's like your hey boss, man. It's like your Colts when they did
I know,
the finalists, the banner. Like,
I think it's because they won the AFC South. I'm like, you beat 3 other teams, and one of them was the Jaguars. Like, come on, man. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
that will do it.
Who hung up that flag? Like, we all saw through the bullshit on that. Like Andrew Luck retired a few years later. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It doesn't fucking matter. God.
So talking about these banners going up though, like when or if, I guess, I don't know which it is, Koivu, happening or not?
See, I'm never good at answering these questions. I don't know what the criteria is.
I say no, but everyone else yells at me for it. So
I thought it was going to happen here. I don't know what, now we have full barns, so I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't know. Yeah, it's awkward for sure.
I think they're waiting for him to put up a jersey retirement performance, and I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
He needs to donate at least 10% of last year's earnings to the team. I mean,
10% of 7 games. I don't know. That's not very much money.
It's not a bad deal.
I'll take it. Oh shit.
Well, puck is back. Puck drop has just occurred. Third period action back. Wild again down by 3 goals. A 5-2 lead for the Nashville Predators right now. Shots. I mean, the Wild, credit to them, they've come back and actually started putting the puck on the net in the second period. And I mean, it got them 2 goals, but still defensively, just not getting it done there. As Nashville still has a hefty lead in this game. Boss man, I know you've had a hell of a night, hell of a weekend. We'll let you go, as I know you just said you jump on for the intermission now. I hope the Wild make a game out of this, sir. And again, before we let you go, just remind the listeners, people tuning in, where can they find you and what you guys are up to there at 10K.
Yeah, you can find me just bossman_10K on Twitter, Jack Leverance anywhere else. You can follow my company 10,000 Takes anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search 10K Takes or 10,000 Takes. And what we're up to, I'm not going to say anything now because we're dropping like a really huge announcement on Thursday that I know all 3 of you guys especially are going to like. So just be ready for that. Micheletti, I don't know if you know the secret. If you do, don't tell them because it has been leaked a little bit here and there.
Hey, Micheletti, can you take a shot real quick and come back on?
Yeah.
We'll keep everything quiet.
But be ready this Thursday at 7 p.m. We're going to have some news. So be ready for that one, boys. But appreciate you having me on. And, like the Wild have been doing this year, maybe we'll get an OT win and get to deal with Celine Dion's horse shit again.
Hang on, I was just gonna say, can you give us this at least? Will the announcement come with any kind of Celine Dion backing or no?
It will not. This is completely independent of Celine and her legal team in London. So Russia will not be involved as well.
Okay, so now you're
as
really...
far as you know.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
They're watching.
I don't know. They're
always involved.
They're always involved, whether you like it or not.
Oh, the refs just blew it again. The officiating's been so bad.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to blame the officiating for the shit show that has happened tonight.
Gaudreau got tripped and no call.
I know. I'm not saying that there haven't been bad calls. I'm saying that we're not going to relegate
Holy
saying
buckets.
It's on them.
Holy buckets. Oh man, the replay made it even worse.
All right.
All right, fellas, I'm dipping out.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks, buddy.
it, man.
Soon. Thanks,
Tune
guys.
in Thursday, boys. Here we go.
Yep. See ya.
Again, Jack Leverance, the boss man himself, as we rotate even more guests here on the Soda Stream.
What is going on here? We have the man who told us he was going to come on months ago and then was just like, nah, I'm too good for you guys. Later, maybe. Later.
Sorry about that.
We have
Definitely not too
Austin
good for you
Rickliffs.
guys.
Austin Rickliffs of Revelation Aleworks. How are we doing, man?
Well, could be better. I mean, we're looking at a 5-2 game right now. Not great.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. First period was not good at all. Second period, I got a little bit hopeful there with the Wild just applying pressure and actually just looking like they care. But no, now it seems like the hole has been dug a little too deep, although they haven't taken their foot off the gas this period by any means. But yeah, this is a hard one. This is a hard pill to swallow. Hopefully they just keep applying pressure. And I mean, if the Wild get at least one more goal, then okay, they're making a game out of this. They're making it, entertaining till the end. And that's what I'm here to see. I mean, if they take another bad penalty though, that's when I'm really gonna start sweating.
It's been such an undisciplined team this year. I haven't seen a Wild team like this in a while, but I mean, they're able to score 5 goals a game. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That's fair. And so before you tell us what you're drinking right now, like what's the story of this game besides being undisciplined and taking penalties? Like why is this not going great?
I mean, kind of the same issue all year has been goaltending. Who knows what we're getting any night. So
fair enough.
Talbot's been okay, but he hasn't been great. And I mean, Kakkonen's been obviously on the PK all night, but still haven't been able to keep pucks out of the net. So
no, I was gonna say, like, certainly scoring 5 goals, like that's not great, but I don't blame him at all for this game. I blame the people in front of him way more.
Quickly before I'm gonna step out for a refill on this beer quickly, but I want to catch up on some of these comments that we've gotten throughout the live stream. And again, thanks to everyone who's stayed on board throughout the beginning, who's tuned in and out. We really appreciate it, and we love your comments. Anthony has been awesome. When they scored that 5th goal, he said, "Well, that'll do it for 78 season. Confirmed. Fire Evison trade Kaprizov." He also said relocate the team to Saskatoon, which, by the way, the Wild were never set or had any rumor to be relocated to Saskatoon. But the St. Louis Blues at one point were like one signature away from being the Saskatoon Blues or whatever the name was there. And that's a very funny story for another day. As we were talking about Koivu, Sean Cosgrove saying if Koivu's number is retired, the Wild will be the 14th team to retire the number 9 in NHL history.
Interesting.
So
how many of those number 9s
players? Some team.
Though?
Well, yeah, there you go. 14th player. Some teams retired the number 2 or 3 times. So there you go.
Wait, what?
Hey.
Wait, what?
It was his comment, not mine.
Interesting.
14th player. Some teams retired the number 2 to 3 times.
What?
In different type eras of the league. Like how is that a thing, Sean?
My understanding was that once a jersey was retired, no one was supposed to wear it.
That's what I thought too. What?
Sean, you're usually our facts guy. Now you're just screwing us up here. So we need some clarity on that. And that was supposed to be like yeah, and that was supposed to be like the correction, right? You put the little asterisk next to it. Anyways, Sean, we've sent out the bat signal. We need some clarity on that.
Please.
I'm gonna take a little break, boys. I will be back in a few minutes. I need a little refill on the beer here. But again, thanks everyone tuning in to this soda stream. I will see you in a few minutes.
While we wait for him, Austin, what are we sipping on? What should everyone know about that's coming out there from the brewery?
Oh, I'm sipping on our 100-watt Centennial West Coast IPA right now, 7.6%. Call it a single. Pretty high ABV for a single, but got a few new beers coming out here in the next month or so. A couple new porters, stouts, 2 new hazy IPAs. I don't know.
No. More specific. Stouts, porters. Tell me, like, are we putting anything cool in there, or like what are we drinking?
So we're actually doing a peanut butter banana porter called Let's Be Friends, a little Elvis throwback there. The Elvis sandwich obviously is peanut butter banana, so we're gonna do it something along that lines, and then we'll do an all Citra hopped hazy IPA here. We've never done one of those, so gonna kind of start having fun here. The winter months are the fun months for us. I mean, summertime's super busy with festivals and all the sorts of travel, but the winter time's really when we start making all these fun beers. So doing a bunch of barrel age releases and all that stuff. So
here we go. Yeah, our buddies at Waconia Brewing, they actually did. I should call out to Elvis too. I can't remember what they called it, but again, it was some. I think it was like something lunchbox. I don't even fucking know, but it was the same kind of peanut butter banana thing. It was delicious. So you've got a bar to clear. I'm gonna have to do a side by side or something. I guess not side by side because I won't have it anymore. But well, we'll see. We'll see who respects Elvis more.
Hey, that's fair. We actually fermented this one with Hefeweizen yeast. So it's got
extra
that banana clove flavor to it. But we're actually adding banana puree as well. So it'll be a little bit lighter colored than your typical black porter and stout, but it's mighty tasty. It's carbing right now, actually. So should be ready here in a couple weeks.
Fuck yeah. All right. Do you guys so what's something that you're looking forward to dabbling in then that you haven't started up yet? Like winter experiment time. Like what's something weird that you're hoping to make?
Honestly, we haven't made a dark lager before other than a Baltic porter. But lately, honestly, I've been into the lower ABV stuff. So I kind of want to do a 5.5% dark lager. Obviously, they take a little bit longer than your typical ales, but they're super fun to make. So there's a lot of stuff can go wrong in lagers. So it does take a long time, and you really do figure out who can make good beer by drinking lagers. So
that's interesting because I've heard different things. I've heard sometimes lagers. I've heard sometimes pills. A lot of the breweries we've talked to have said if I go to someone else's brewery, I'm going to drink just their standard, run-of-the-mill pale ale, and I'm going to take a couple sips, and I'm going to know right away if they know how to brew beer or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar with a lager. I mean, anything, whatever their lightest beer or lager is going to be, that's what I'm going to drink right away, specifically just because I can see what the characteristic of the brewery is, if they really know what they're doing, or if every now and again they have a batch that doesn't go 100% like the way they want it to. And I mean, that's just drinking enough beer nowadays is kind of how I know what to go with. So
that's fair.
But and then again, then I'll go drink a double IPA or something along those lines.
Once they get the check in the box, you're like, all right, now let's have good shit.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Oh man.
Anything hops, I'm gonna be right up that alley. So
man. Yes.
I know you are too, so it's fine.
I'm all for it. Oh man. Which yes, dude. Come November, going out to the Gopher and Fighting Hawk game, I guess. Whatever we want to call it.
We're the Sioux.
I can't say that though, because it's not true. I'll just call you Nodak. That works. Going out to that's gonna be a blast, but also on my way there, checking out Junkyard and Drecker. Oh baby. That's been long in the waiting for me. I tried to go through Junkyard on my way back from a trip, but it was kind of mid-COVID. So it's we have stuff to go. I'm yeah, that's really not what I'm here for.
Hey, if you haven't been to either of those places yet, those are definitely absolutely massive places you have to go to. They're just such iconic breweries not even just in the Red River Valley, within the state and region, honestly. I mean, Drecker's just been absolutely exploding the last 3 years. I mean, they're selling experiences in a can. That's what every brewery wants to do. And they've just made it absolutely perfect for everybody, honestly. So,
dude, and Isha, who will be back on here shortly, he's only had one of their beers. He's just had the flagship Ectogasm, but he's still that's probably his favorite brewery just because of the can art. He can't get over it.
I mean, the can art is another something that makes it an absolute experience in a can. I mean, that's what every brewery strives to be, and they've just done it absolutely perfectly. So,
yeah, I've been in touch with Jesse up there, and we're just trying to coordinate what makes sense, whether we're going to do something on site up there or if he's going to jump on the pod. But, dude, I'm so excited to get in touch with those guys because they're just a different breed. I don't know. Did you ever see the promo that they dropped with Back Channel, who we're really tight with? Actually,
oh yeah,
I'll be drinking a Back Channel beer here soon that Josh hooked me up with. But the video that they had for that one was incredible.
They're just everything they do is just perfect. There's nothing else to explain it. It's just perfect, and that's how you market yourself too. And that's the one thing, especially for us as a small brewery, we're working on just marketing ourselves, and it's a part of any small business in general, but breweries especially is getting your product out there and marketing yourselves the way you want to. So
Yeah, and we're at an intermission right now, just a commercial break. But so, like, tell everyone here quick, where can you find Revelations beers, right? Like, how far out does the distribution go? Because, I mean, for those that don't know, you guys are pretty much as far north as we can go before we hit Canada, which is like, what means you're like 10 minutes away from Isha, right?
Yeah, well, not quite 10 minutes, but so we actually are shipping beer up to Saskatchewan now. They're picking up this week. So Saskatchewan, Manitoba for all the Canadian crowd. And then North Dakota, we go just about as far west as Cavalier-ish area. But then obviously all the way down to the cities. Every now and again, Rochester, down at Jack's Bottle Shop. And then northwestern Wisconsin too.
So where in the cities? Like where should people look for your stuff?
We got a few stops at like Top 10 Blaine, Andover, Chanhassen, St. Louis Park, and then On Babyless has been by far and away our biggest buyer.
Good
we bring down
up there.
Yeah, we bring down about 20 cases, 25 cases every month for them, and they're completely out by the next time I'm down there. So they're selling a lot of beer right now. But we got distributors out of Grand Forks that runs basically the northern Minnesota for us. One out of Moorhead that does basically all the way down to Alexandria, and then one in Duluth that does Duluth all the way down to Hinckley, and then all the way up to northwestern Wisconsin. So
nice.
Kind of have to go distributor route with us just because we're so freaking far out of the way for everybody. But it's working out well. We're moving a lot of beer right now. So.
No, and anyone that's a newer listener or missed out on the episodes where I brought on all the different beers that Austin was so nice to hook me up with, like really across the board, like they're doing a great job. And I don't know, maybe you can comment on this, but I feel like you do a pretty good job of hitting all the like little niches and pockets of beer where like there's some breweries that they're like, this is my thing. I'm going to crush my thing, but that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the entirety of what we want to do is just provide a beer for everybody. I mean, we do light lagers all the way up to double IPAs, imperial stouts. Our peanut butter stout's one of our most popular beers. Blood orange wheats are another one of our most popular. That's similar to like a Blue Moon. It fits kind of our area up here, but then we're also everyone's into the heavy fruited sours right now. We kind of do those too, and I don't know. We kind of just want to hit every sort of market as far as brewery goes or beer goes. So trying to do everything and anything as far as beer goes. So we're pretty busy every single day of the week. So
no, that's fair, man. And I self-proclaimed, I'll throw that out there with an asterisk, self-proclaimed peanut butter beer expert. Like you guys absolutely do have a great peanut butter beer. I'm really excited to try that Elvis tribute there with the peanut butter and banana like that. Especially come winter time, man. That's like what I live for. I mean, you and I met up in person at Dangerous, man. Absolutely. And that peanut butter porter is what made me fall in love with craft beer. Holy fuck.
Yeah, we're super excited for that Let's Be Friends Elvis tribute. I mean, it's one of those beers we've never done before. Obviously, not really many people make a stout or porter with Hefeweizen yeast, but just that's the beauty of being kind of a small experimental brewery is we're able to kind of mess around with stuff like that and kind of create a beer that we wouldn't normally try on a, if someone say like a big system like Lupulin or Fair State has. I mean, we're still on a 15 barrel, so kind of helps us as far as that goes. So
that's what I've been sipping on for the time being. Great old Lupulin beers.
Lupulin is insane. Every time we can get some beer from Lupulin, we're drinking it. So
they killed. And dude, speaking of can art game, holy shit, do they crush it? Marcus is incredible.
Yes, they've been killing the can art lately. They did the S&M Simcoe Mosaic IPA. That was one of my favorite labels.
Yes,
for the last 3 years.
Dude, I got to bring Isha back in here because he's heard me gush about this. Like, it's one of those things where not only is it one of my favorite beers, like I'm a sucker for Simcoe Mosaic IPAs. Like, I know that's kind of like some people view that as a cheat code. I don't fucking care. It tastes good.
But it tastes good.
That can label was incredible. And it was so good that like it's one of the few that I actually kept because I'm just a fucking sicko. And like I was on with the boys of Lupulin, and like Justin's like, oh yeah, we had a cool one before too, but it didn't have like the texturing on. And I'm like, the fuck it doesn't. And I like left and grabbed it. And I'm like, do you see this motherfucker?
It's everything about that label is just beautiful. There was not a damn thing wrong with it. They completely explained the beer perfectly. I mean, it's kind of between that New England and West Coast style where it's not super, super, super bitter, but it's still juicy at the same time. But that can art was just sexy.
No, it was beautiful. Hoppy was showing it off to me. And I mean, how you describe that is exactly like what I'm about to actually crack here in this Volume 2 Hazy IPA from our friends at Hoyne Brewing. I mean,
it's like right in the light, so no one can see any of it.
See that at all, but that's okay. Enjoyed the beer talk, boys, but a lot has gone on with the Minnesota Wild, so we got to talk a little bit about, especially that.
I don't know, man. It's still 5-2, so
yeah. I was watching this in the background, sitting here, and I mean, it's the Wild are still pushing. They're still pushing here. They may not be able to get it on the score sheet yet, but even that last sequence there, Bukestad getting into it, losing his cool a little bit, getting a little too frustrated out there. Those little tussle behind the net, a couple great opportunities for the Wild too. So I mean, they're really pushing the pace. And again, we're coming up to the end of the game here. They're not going to run away with this one. I highly doubt, anything can happen in hockey, but I highly doubt that they're taking this game even into overtime at this point. But I mean, for the sake of just the room and how their season has started and just this momentum they built, they at least have to get another goal out there to at least show on the scoreboard that, okay, like we didn't just give up. We still at least tried to play hockey as tired as we may be.
Oh, hang on. I got a graphic up right now. Most come from behind wins since last season. Panthers 22, and then tied with 19, Wild, Penguins, and Blues.
Okay, but was that...
They were ahead of the Lightning there.
It's because Lightning usually don't have to come back.
Very fair, very fair.
Was that a 3-goal deficit, though? That's the thing.
I think it said up to 4, so I don't know if it was like specific, right?
Okay. And I mean, the Wild, they are out shooting the Nashville Predators for what it's worth. And I know I usually say, I mean, this game has been totally reversed because they usually outshoot their opponent in the first period and then let them catch up later in the games. Right now, it's the exact opposite. They did nothing in the first period, but take a lot of penalties. Kind of started to even things up in the second, and now here we are in the third, kind of at a stalemate right now, where they are getting the puck to the net, but nothing is coming out of it.
Yeah, but I think it's a skewed shot total because they beat the fuck out of us in the first period, and we came out, we're like, well, let's put as much on net as we can, and there haven't really been that good of chances. I mean, there's been a couple okay opportunities.
2 goals,
right?
They got 2 goals. They got 2 goals as a result.
The 27, I don't think is indicative of like what they've actually put forth in effort.
No, and fair point. I mean, the effort overall, I mean, Nashville's looked very, very good. And I know in the first period, we were saying that's because the Wild really just gave them the ice to skate, gave them the room to work. In the second and third, it's been pretty back and forth. From what I'm seeing, I mean, Nashville they have a chance at one on the ice, and either there'll be a turnover or there'll be a save and whatnot, and then the Wild will just continue on, bring it back towards the other end. The second period, there were a lot more battles in the neutral zone. This third one, it just seems more like just a back and forth. Not as many whistles, just kind of a back and forth game.
Yeah, I mean, we're just when you take so many penalties especially in the first period, I don't know how you can actually come back from that. I mean, your shot totals are going to be whacked just based off that too, but I mean, the fact that we're taking so many penalties early in the season here has just been so frustrating.
Yeah, and it's even outside of this game, you're totally right there. Just in all the games, it seems like just unnecessary penalties. Now, I know some of the Wild players like Hartman, like Foligno, hell, even Eriksson Ek, who doesn't usually end up in the box too much with his style of play. It just seems like there's been a bunch of unnecessary crap that's happened this year as well.
Yeah, I want to hear both your opinions, though, because I do think like the missing piece here for the Wild to not be contenders, right? Because I really don't think that they're in a position to even be a contender with where they're at right now. But to really be like a top tier team in the division, it's finding a pair for Kevin Fiala. like he's looked really good in my opinion for the first 5 games, including this game. He's the one guy that's like kind of still looked like he was given it, which makes sense being his old team. But like, is it something where we need to give it time and things will work out? Do we need to shuffle the lines that exist, or is there a trade or a call up from Iowa that needs to happen to give him someone to fucking play with? Because I'm getting kind of sick of it already. It's 5 games.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, Hoppy knows me from chatting wild hockey about earlier this year already so far. I just the biggest frustration with this coaching, not that I really have very many frustrations with this coaching staff, because I think they've done so well compared. Well, a lot of it's got to do with Billy G, but the biggest frustration I honestly have is not allowing the young guys, especially, you know, you're looking at Rossi and Beckman, giving them the opportunity to show themselves early in the year. Honestly, I wanted Beckman to be on the team to start the year. That was my absolute biggest far and away thing I wanted to happen, just because he absolutely lit up the preseason. Not that he was playing the greatest competition, but he showed, in my opinion, I think he showed he deserved a spot on the roster. And I mean, and again, I want these guys to be top 6 guys, but at the same time, if we can get a guy like Beckman to be on a line with Fiala, holy crap, man, we're gonna have a absolute star-studded lineup if we can get that guy in there. So
yeah, and it's weird because we don't really even know like what the lines are, right? Like they put the lines online for us, but like who really is the second versus the third? And like game to game, we're seeing different minutes. And I'm with you. Like if Beckman's gonna get buried in the lineup and not get minutes, I want him in Iowa. But if he can play with Fiala and get like 17 minutes a night, I can fucking live with that. That sounds wonderful.
Absolutely. And you're 100% right. We just have no idea what the lines are right now, other than your top line of Kaprizov, Ek, and Zuccarello. I mean, we just have no idea, honestly, other than the second and third lines just switch every night. I mean, we have no idea who is the second compared to the third in the reality of it. And that's honestly not a terrible problem to have.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but it's just harder to know, like, should we have him up or not kind of thing.
Right. And I mean, I'm just super excited about Rossi, so I would love to see him up here at the start of the year.
I mean, I fucking love Rossi too, but like, I don't want him up anytime soon. Like, I want him to get comfortable and absolutely dominate people in Iowa. I want to make sure his health is in line. And let's be real, unless he like gives a reason that he absolutely has to be called up, like putting up 2 or 3 goals a game, he's a guy who's probably not going to get brought up this year because of that sliding contract. And oh, guess what? That 3 years that would happen after that just so happened to line up with the 3 years of hell that we have from the Parisi and Suter buyouts. So I've just already resigned myself to the fact that it's unlikely Rossi's going to be called up this year.
Right. And I mean, maybe that changes barring injuries or something. Who knows? Sure. I mean, that's half of it. But I don't know. It would be really nice to see Rossi and Beckman up here at some point. Obviously, Boldy's going to get healthy here. He definitely will be a part of this team. I'm 100% on board with that. But I don't know. I'm just all in on seeing the young guys play. That's something we haven't seen for the last decade, you know, for the Wild. And now we got these star-studded lineups down in Iowa. I want to see some of these guys coming up eventually. I mean, of course, we still got a few older guys, but you need those in hockey. I mean, you got to have those guys in the lineup and in the locker room too. It's not just play-wise, but you got to have them in the locker room too. They got to be mentors. So,
yeah, no, and you know what, because you're echoing what like the entire fan base is screaming right now, right? Let's get these fun kids up. Let's inject them in the lineup, see what happens. Isha's heard me preach this on and on because like I've seen it too, being a guy who like grew up a Penguins fan. Bill Guerin knows what he's doing, and he was such a big piece in developing guys, getting the right guys in the AHL, moving them up at the right time. Like, dude, Jake Gensel, he was down in the AHL for a little bit before he got to play. You see the guys like Zach Aston Reese, Brian Rust, all of their goalies that have come up and like been big pieces in making runs in the playoffs. That's all because of the right development in the AHL. And if Bill Guerin tells me that he wants any of these guys down in the AHL. I might not agree with it, but I'm just going to be like, all right, I'll sit and wait because you're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look at how much Billy Cheese changed this culture, honestly, in 2 years. 2 years ago, we had the damn near the oldest roster in the NHL, and no one had thought we had any chance in the next 5 years, basically. And
I was included among that
moves. Right. He's made so many moves in the last 2 years that we're just like, oh man. I mean, the draft picks are a huge thing, honestly. That was the thing with Fletcher. Fletcher went all in, obviously, a couple times, especially on that Martin Hansel trade. But obviously, that's not one we want to talk about. But giving away your first-round picks is massive in hockey because hockey, more than any other sport, honestly, is such a shot in the dark on prospects, it seems to me. So getting these first-round draft picks, honestly, makes a huge difference in getting your pipeline reloaded. And I think we've done an insanely good job in the last couple of years of that. So
yeah, it's interesting because, like, to your point, right? It's a total crapshoot with prospects a lot of the time, and that's why when you're in a position where you actually think you have a championship caliber roster, I'm okay throwing a first-round pick to get the right player. It's just one of those things that it's not even that Hansel wasn't the right player. I know they had a good year and they were high in the standings. At no point did I think that they were a contender to win the Stanley Cup. And if that's the case, you don't trade for players with young assets. That's just not what you do. I'm sorry.
Right. Absolutely. 100% agree on that. It's frustrating. I mean, now looking back at it, you're like, why would we make that trade? But at the time, we were ecstatic about it, right? Because we didn't have that top center that we needed, and we thought he was going to be the answer, and it just didn't work out. But that's hockey, man. That's all you can say.
Yeah.
Chemistry and
Isha,
everything.
what do you think?
I mean, on the trade?
On all of the above. We just covered a lot of things while you sat there and played on your phone.
Yeah, well, I'm watching the game. I'm not going to lie.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I agree with.
We got an empty net with 5.5 left, so that's not a good sign.
No, that's not. I mean, like I said, this game pretty much checked. I think Hoppy said the players were checked out of the game. I mean, for me, I was holding on to some hope. I was holding on to some hope that they would at least get one more here, but it doesn't look like that at all. Kaprizov, though, he did have a nice shot which knocked the goalie's helmet off. So now the goalie actually lost his helmet twice in this game. Once from Fiala hitting him in the paint, and two from just a shot hitting his helmet there. So one random key point of this game anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say, like, it makes me happy that they have the goalie pulled right now because that means they're actually trying to get back in it because down 3, 5 minutes left. Yeah. At our clip, that's probably not even enough, but let's give it a go.
Pulling the old Patrick Waugh. I mean, respect, which I'll never forget. And I'm almost positive it was his first game behind the bench is when he went after Bruce Boudreau.
Oh, and it was beautiful.
He tried to take down the glass in between.
Yeah, that was an absolute beauty move.
Boudreau almost had a heart attack there.
It's like, what is this? Like,
oh man, Isha, I'm saving this for the post game, but I got to show you before I remove the customizer to it. We've got from Josh. Yeah. I got a little name tag added on, but oh man, am I excited to crack open 9s. Which, again, part of the revamped front office for the Minnesota Wild, that is a tribute to none other than, you can see here, different colors, but it's basically the, redo of the North Stars logo with the wonderful, wonderful logo up at the top here. Instead of the star, back channel, we got Mike Modano, who is just a next-level American hero.
Yes, he is. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. The first live stream of the season, I was hoping it would go a little bit better than this against the Nashville Predators. Overall, though, and I know it's not completely over, but let's be honest, like under 4 minutes left
over at this point.
Down by 3, empty nets pulled. I mean,
hang on, under 4 minutes left, Isha. I'm ahead of you, and that's saying 4:08 on a whistle, so I don't know how you got there.
I thought it would just keep. I thought at least I was behind a little bit and that the play already started. But yes, with 4 minutes left of this game, we're not coming back here from this. The post game show with Chad Minton of Preds Lines and Catfish on Ice podcast. That one's going to be a lot of fun, just breaking down everything else from a Nashville point of view as well. As I'm very curious to get his take on this game. But overall, boys, like, do you think that the Wild just played down a level, didn't bring it tonight, or do you think Nashville's just overall should get credit for just being the better team and just executing a better game plan? Like, or do you think it's somewhere in the middle? Like, who do you think gets credit for this game, honestly?
I mean, honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. I think Nashville actually came prepared, and the Wild are just a little bit overconfident, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a little column A, a little column B. Like, Wild, way too confident, like Austin said. I think the Predators, too. Like, you come in 1-4, and you're fucking pissed off. Like,
Absolutely.
You want to make something happen, and that's just the perfect storm for letdown where you got a team riding too high and a team that's frustrated. Like, it's going to happen. Like, I've been saying to people when there's been good games, I don't put a whole lot of stock into it. This game, like, it's one game, whatever. But talk to me in Thanksgiving, and I'll be able to tell you pretty much where the Wild sit, because, like, we have not seen a big enough sample size. We have not seen them play real competition. I want to see what happens when they play a team that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. It's so funny to see the Bally Sport just flash the B on the ice. And as soon as they're like, it's about to be off, screen, they like a second ahead of time just take it off there. I noticed that, which is
I mean, we're still 4-1. We got 8 points out of 10 to start the year. I mean, you can't really be that upset about it, right?
Not at all. Not at all. And I mean, a loss on a back-to-back too. You can't be too overly critical of your team when that happens, especially now. I know it's not the first one because they opened the season like that, but early on in the season when you're not used to it yet.
But that excuse doesn't really work when the other team played a back-to-back as well, played a better team, and had to travel. So, no, I don't accept that excuse.
Fair. And I mean, Sean, I think, was it Sean who, one of our comment, someone in our comment or chat box here said the same thing. But again, maybe it just affects teams differently. Nashville, clearly, they still had their feet under them. So, yeah, it was an even playing field. I understand that, but proof's in the pudding. The Wild came out much slower than Nashville. And they're suffering, trying to catch up as a result. Surprised to see no empty netter yet. Still a 5-2 game. It was close a few minutes ago, and the puck again just trickled down the ice there for an icing on Nashville. But again, I just want to see or not even an icing. The play keeps going, but I just want to see the Wild at least get one more. 2 minutes left. Get one more. Make it a 2-goal game, and that way. That way, for everybody else, all these casual NHL fans, they'll look at the game and be like, okay, it wasn't that bad for the Wild. Maybe Jerem won't call us mild leading up to the Chicago Blackhawks Wild game, which I'm very excited for because, I mean, it does suck.
It looks so fucking bad.
Yeah, it does suck that the Wild can't play them around this time where they're just
they
so
suck.
Bad. Yeah, where they're so
that'd be
bad.
nice.
Where we could just like put salt in the wound.
By the time we're playing them too, they're gonna be buzzing, and it's just gonna fucking suck.
Hoppy, I know you're a big Gopher fan. So when is Rem Pitlick gonna finally make his debut?
Whenever Evison loses his job, I don't know. I mean, I am pretty surprised, along with a lot of people, that he didn't play tonight, being the back-to-back. But like,
I was super surprised, honestly.
What's the infatuation with Rask? Like, I understand, like, again, on a back-to-back, you got to get Pitlick in. Other games, I get you got to play Rask, hope that things look okay so that you can try and trade him for something, right? Like, find some way to move him off the roster. But like, I just don't get it, man. Like, you got to find someone for Fiala to play with. And while he is like definitely more of a goal scorer, dude can see the ice really well. And having a guy like Pitlick, who is a known goal scorer, like dude's done it every phase of his career, maybe stick someone like that on the line instead of Rask and see what can fucking happen. Because that was going to be kind of my argument when we talked about this earlier. Like, it could just be as simple as give him Rem Pitlick and see if that does the job. That could be it.
Yeah, I mean, you know how much I am not a huge fan of Victor Rask, so
You're alone on that
I was
island.
absolutely shocked to not see Rem Pelican tonight. Like you pick him up on waivers, you take up a roster spot from a guy like honestly Beckman, and you haven't put him in for the first 5 games. I mean, that's to me, I don't get it, but whatever.
Dude, I was okay with the waiver claim, but yeah, now that they haven't played him at all, it's like, okay, why the fuck did you do this?
Right. And that's why I'm not GM of the Wild, but
Accurate.
I don't get it. So
yeah, I'm with you, man.
Speaking of things I don't get, I didn't get that Zuccarello penalty at all. That was barely a pick. That was the player just went down at because he didn't want to move. He just didn't want to move. Kind of an unnecessary call in the last whatever it was, minute 50 at the time of it being called. Game just wrapping up now. And still Kakkonen having to be busy. Well, this was a fun one.
Hasn't actually looked terrible tonight.
No, this game's not on him.
I don't think it is at all.
I mean, obviously on the PK a lot, but he for being on the penalty kill damn near half the game tonight, he hasn't looked terrible. So
well, and his head's been in the game the whole time, even though they're down. He's got 5 goals on him. Like I think he's been pretty composed. I think there's a couple that he could have had, but like I don't know.
Right.
Oh,
I just don't know.
Hey, Sean, I need to know how many points Letty has because I'm about to crack one of his uncle's beers. So report back.
There you go.
Oh, man. Well, as we wrap up the game here, winds down the last couple seconds. Austin, again, I know you already previewed a couple beers coming up, but I mean, anything exciting going on for Revelation Crew? Like do you guys do any kind of like off-season winter type events? Are there any other beers you want to tease besides what we've talked about? Go off, man.
I mean, honestly, basically, so our 5-year anniversary is coming up here in late February. We're doing a bunch of barrel aged releases and whatnot. I mean, that's kind of our thing for anniversary week. But that's this year we're going to really go off for 5 years. I mean, basically what they say is if you can make it 5 years, you're good and gold. So
yeah, that's no joke, man. That's awesome. Congrats on that.
Yeah, man.
So like barrel aged, like anything exciting with the barrel aged options there, or like what do you want to share this time?
I mean, we got a couple barrel aged sours coming. We always do a deviation as our fooder aged barrel aged sour that we come out with. That's more your old school style sour, but we got a bunch of 2 different imperial stouts and barrels right now, and a couple of our staple beers, our cherry sour especially, is in barrels right now, and then we got a blackberry guava smoothie sour in there too. So we got a bunch of barrel aged stuff coming out that for those barrel aged lovers, they will go crazy over them. So we'll try to bring that stuff down to the cities. It probably won't be in cans, but we'll try to do a bunch of bottles of it. So
oh yeah, bottles preferred. And if you guys are gonna have any kind of Olympic hockey action going on during that time, maybe I'll find a way to wiggle my way up there. What, the fucking 20-hour drive? No, it's probably more like 7.
Well, hey, like we said, if you guys wanted to come up and brew a beer at all, let us know. We'll do it.
Oh, Hoppy will take you up on that offer.
Isha, you gonna get your ass down here?
Isha, you can get your ass down here starting in November, I think.
I'll be there in April. So I'm spending my birthday in Minnesota, and I'm fucking pumped to do so, boys. So it's gonna
birthdays
be
don't matter after you turn 21.
That's true. I don't even remember the last time I celebrated a birthday, to be honest. But that's why this one, it's not even my 30th. It'll be my fucking 29th. So there you go. The last one of my 20s. There you go. That's something, right? That's something.
That's a big number. That's a big number.
Oh, we really appreciate you jumping on, man. We'll get you on the podcast recording soon, as this was a watch-along live stream watching this. Well, for a Wild's perspective, horrendous game. For Nashville perspective, they loved it. But cheers, man. And again, we'll bring you on soon for some more beer talk, and we'll dive into more of what the Wild are looking like as this season progresses.
Awesome. Thank you very much, fellas. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. See ya.
Well, that was, such a pleasure every time, Hoppy?
Absolutely. All right, now to the Well, less fun part, I guess.
Hey, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for our next guest. And to be honest, this crossover has been long overdue. I've been telling these guys here in chat in particular that like we need to do more Soda Pod and Catfish on Ice crossovers, and especially how this game went. I think we'll have a few more set for the future. But without further ado, our post game show, it begins now on this watch along as we bring in Chad Minton of Predsline and the Catfish on Ice podcast. Chad, what a game that was for your Nashville Predators. How are you doing?
Yeah, I got nothing for you other than I guess the guys woke up and they got sick of getting ran through the mud by the local media, and they stepped up and beat a really good team tonight.
Oh, well, you don't have to butter us up.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you for that.
I mean, it's true, though. I mean, it's true. Hey,
have they proven that yet? Have they proven it?
I'm on full record of saying the Minnesota Wild are right up there with the Colorado Avalanche as far as the top in the Central Division. That's just me. That's just an outsider perspective here. But
you
I
need
have
to
a lot of
replace
respect
me on
for
the
Minnesota
podcast. You like the Wild more than I do. Holy shit!
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest, guys. This was a back-to-back. The Wild 4-0 to this game.
Yep.
4-0, and they were I think every game they won was by one goal, right? If I'm correct.
All right.
So, I mean, I get it. The Preds were – I think what I got out of this game was the Preds were just the more desperate team right out of the gate. They were drawing penalties. They were looked like the more desperate team, whereas the Wild kind of maybe looked a little more comfortable, which is, I guess, natural when you're coming in 4-0 and you've got the Preds who are 1-4 and not looking good at all.
Fair. Very fair. All right, so tell everyone, what's the celebratory beer right now? What are you drinking to enjoy this second win of the season?
Yes. So I was doing a little shopping today, and I was like, I need to get me some good beer for this game tonight. Day off, just kind of relaxing, and I'm getting ready. I'm wanting some beer to drink for the game, and I come across Victory Sour Monkey Sour Triple, which I didn't even know where this was from. I go to a local liquor store who always has really good craft beer from all over the country, and just all over. They always have a good selection. And so I found this. I was like, Victory, that's got to be a sign. That's got to be a sign that we're going to get a victory tonight. I'm just saying.
It was.
Hey, that's funny because I had a sign from my beer too. So this one from Back Channel Brewing, they actually refer to it as a rink beer instead of a lake beer.
Ooh. Love it.
Tribute to Mike Modano, naturally, but nines. That was the projected goal total for the Nashville Predators tonight. So both of our beers tell the future.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is a really good. I don't normally enjoy sour beers, but this is
us either.
But I'm going to tell you, this is a 9.5 ABV. It tastes like fruit juice, honestly, but it still has a beer flavor to it. I got to come around to sours a little bit after drinking this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's what we like to hear. I've yet to find some that have been able to push me to that edge because I'm not there yet. Every sour I've had, I've come in even with high hopes, and I'm like, God, this just lets me down. But glad to hear it. I mean, victory. What else is there to say? Let's dive into the victory that the Nashville Predators had over the Minnesota Wild. And I think the narrative, boys, we can all agree on. And Chad kind of already said it. The Nashville Predators came into this game playing with urgency. They came into this game playing with purpose. The Wild came into this game flat-footed and took way too many penalties. Chad, is there anything else you have to add to that storyline there? And what were some other key takeaways from this game?
Well, so one of the things that's been really just maligned about this Predators team is their top lines are not producing. I mean, you take your core players like Ryan Johansen, Matt Duchene, Philip Forsberg. I would even throw Roman Josi partially into that mix. And what do you see tonight? You see all of those players getting into the mix and making things happen. Roman Josi gets his first 4-plus point game since 2018. I mean, even the players who didn't necessarily pile up the points, Mikael Granlund was all over it. Matt Duchene was out there making things happen. I mean, it was just, you finally saw the top players of this team get in the mix and make things happen, which has not happened for the most part this entire season so far. So that was a big key to me. Ryan Johansen got 2 quick goals right there in that first period. He has been under so much criticism from this fan base and from the local media, and rightfully so. And so he kind of showed his talent a little bit. And then, of course, let's give some love. I want to give some love to Connor Ingram, our rookie goaltender, who is only starting because of COVID protocols. Our backup, David Riddick, is in COVID protocol. So Connor Ingram got called up from the AHL, gets his first NHL start, and he really did get tested tonight. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but the Wild started to test him as this game went on, and he made some really critical saves. So big props, Connor Ingram, playing very well in his first NHL game.
Yeah, he definitely played the part under siege a little bit. I don't know, this is me nitpicking, but I'd really like to see the Wild create higher danger scoring chances. Like a lot of what they were doing, I felt like the remainder of the game was, we're getting our ass kicked, throw everything at the net and hope something goes in. And it definitely conjured up some okay chances, but at the end of the day, I need to see more from the Wild. They haven't really been thus far in the season. Isha, I don't know if you disagree, but like a lot of what they've generated has just been, hey, stick with the system, grind it out, like put pucks on net, some are going to go in, versus like, here's high danger scoring chances that are going to fucking go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of what I saw tonight as well. I said it so many times throughout our live streaming in the first period. I was really impressed with how Nashville was skating in the first period and how they, like I said, they're playing with purpose, and the Wild just weren't. I noticed more in a positive lens for Nashville, more so than just being like, oh, the Wild are flat-footed. I was more like, oh, Nashville's just really bringing it. So they were noticeable in that sense. And then Hoppy, said, like, if the top line clicks, the top line is dangerous. And the top line was absolutely dangerous for the Nashville Predators tonight. The only thing that I would say that the Wild really, needed to do better was stay out of the box. And that's saying with the caveat that Hoppy said there's no excuse here, in that both of these teams played yesterday. It looked like it affected the Wild more, and I'll stand by that. But the Wild really needed to be out of the box in the first period. They gave those power play opportunities to Nashville, and credit to you guys, they took advantage of it. Coming now off this win, do you think that this is going to be a catalyst for some more confidence in that group moving forward, and based off the schedule that they have ahead of them?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to confidence booster, I do think it could be a huge boost, because the Preds have really honestly been playing much better as each game has gone on, but it hasn't led to a winning result. And that's not to make excuses for this team, because they have made some really bad mistakes. So last night against the Winnipeg Jets, they had a lot of self-inflicted mistakes that let the Jets score 6 goals. That's just, ridiculous. And every time the Preds would score to get it close, the Jets would just quickly retaliate. And so that's kind of what happened last night. The Preds are one of those teams where they just can't finish. They're not there yet. They're playing a lot of really young players. They're probably – I've seen different list on this, but I know the Preds are definitely one of the youngest teams in the NHL in average age. They're around the 5th or 6th youngest team league from what I've seen. So they're playing a lot of really young players, and so they're going to make mistakes, but they're right there. Like, they're getting close, but they're not getting the 2 points. They're not getting overtime to at least salvage a point. But tonight is I know that State of Hoppy isn't as big on the Wild as me, but I do think this is a very high quality win for the Preds, and considering where the Preds are at, and in this all month, this October schedule has been a really hard test for the Predators. I mean, they've had some really tough games. They opened the season against Seattle. Don't know what to expect there. Then they go and play Carolina. Then they beat the Kings, who is kind of a revamped team, but then they lose to the Rangers. They've had a really tough opening schedule. They really haven't had any easy teams, but again, what is an easy game in the NHL these days? But Yes. So coming
Arizona.
up here, they got Arizona. I'm looking for Arizona on the schedule, and I don't see him anytime soon.
Oh man, but Chad, it's making so much more sense now why you're like trying to butter up and say how good and how much of a contender the Wild are, because you just beat them. You need that as your launching board. I respect it. I totally get it now.
Oh, I see. Bar down breakdown says Pred's going down again. Who are they representing?
Islanders. That's one of our Islanders and punk music podcasts at the Hockey Podcast Network. Yeah.
Well,
big Islanders guys.
I mean,
Chad, you asked about what a bad team is or what an easy game is in the NHL. I'll tell you what they are: Anaheim,
all right,
LA,
gotcha,
Winnipeg without their captain. And guess what? Those are the 4 wins that the Wild pulled out by 1 goal, as you previously mentioned. I'm not saying the Wild are a bad team. I think quite the opposite. They're a good team, but I'm not sold that this is a team that's a top contender in the Central yet. I need to see a lot more.
I gotcha. Well, losing to the Preds will definitely say that. I mean, argue with you there. And we lost to Winnipeg 6-4 last night, and they were missing Blake Wheeler and Mark Scheifele. So I mean, we have no room to talk here. But I think we are you're talking about 2 teams and definitely with different expectations preseason wise. Minnesota Wild definitely have way higher preseason expectations, whereas the Preds are kind of like we don't know if we're rebuilding or not. Really, honestly, no one knows what the front office wants to do right now. So, which is the frustrating part. But yeah, it's a big win for it's a big win for the team for sure. And it's a building block, if anything. And now you got to try to build a winning streak. We got San Jose coming into Nashville on Tuesday. And I mean, that's a wild card game for me right there. I don't really ever know what to expect out of the Preds. I'll just leave it at that. I really don't know what to expect out of them right now.
Fair enough. You mentioned there, you don't really know the direction of this team as far as what management or where management rather is going to take them. Let's talk a little bit about that. Are they retooling? Are they setting the grounds for a rebuild? Because let's be honest here, Chad, much like how though there's higher expectations for the Minnesota Wild, look, maybe people in Minnesota would love to see their team win the cup. And I get that 100%, but they're not a Stanley Cup team. The Nashville Predators, they're not a Stanley Cup team this year. So what is the direction in your mind, or what do you think the direction should be, since you kind of highlighted that the fan base overall doesn't know where the management is taking this team? Do you think a retool, if executed properly, is the answer, or do you think just a rebuild is in order and as a result, Yossi's just going to have to stay along for that ride?
Right. So, the prospect pool for the Preds is definitely taking a big launching point upward. I mean, the prospect pool is just buzzing right now, and there's a lot of good stuff going on. And you're seeing some of that already this season on the NHL level with Philip Tomasino, who has scored his first NHL goal, got a power play goal last night, was very much in the mix tonight, even though he didn't score a point or anything. But so, yeah, the Preds are kind of like everyone down here in Nashville in the Preds fan base wants to see a rebuild, and we'll deal with the growing pains. We'll deal with the losses. We'll deal with all the headaches that might come along with that. But instead, David Poile, Predators GM, who has been the only GM of this franchise ever, which is also part of the frustration, is you're talking about a franchise that's 21 years old now, coming up on 22 years old. And we've had the same general manager, and you've only been to 1 Stanley Cup final. You have been to the playoffs a lot, but still, the Preds fans want more, and rightfully so. And you got sold over the offseason that the Preds were going to finally go into this rebuild. And you see Victor Arvidsson go to the Kings for some draft picks. You see Ryan Ellis go to the Flyers for a couple project players at best. You get Philippe Myers, you get Cody Glass out of that deal, who is now playing in Milwaukee for the AHL for the Milwaukee Admirals. So he's not even in the lineup right now. And so fans are rightfully frustrated right now because we don't know what the direction is. And meanwhile, up until tonight, you've been seeing a top core of veterans not producing. So that's the frustration with this team, is no one really knows what the front office wants to do. Going back to last season, you come up on the trade deadline. Everyone thinks the Preds are going to be sellers, and they decide to do nothing. They hold on to Philip Forsberg. They hold on to Matthias Ekholm. And so that's kind of where the frustration lies, is there doesn't really seem to be a plan. And fans are really sick of losing in the first round every season. I'll just, kind of leave it at that.
Are they?
Welcome to
a franchise of 21 to 22 years that's sick of losing in the first round. I would know nothing of this.
That sounds a little green to me.
At least you made it to a cup final.
Yeah, but we get to see Vegas running out there and just instantly like an elite franchise, and we get to see Seattle, and everyone's projecting Seattle to be a 95 to 100 point team, and so we're kind of like,
that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, I get it, man. And the Ryan Suter, Shea Weber era of the Nashville Predators was one of my favorites. Like, I've never seen two defensemen shut down the Sedins like those two guys did in that 2011 run for Vancouver. Like I honestly thought it was going to stop for Vancouver there. That's how scared I was. So like, I understand how much this team means to the Nashville Predators fans, and I understand how David Poyle's been there for the entirety of it. And now maybe it's time to flip the page there and maybe just bring a whole new outlook to this team. And it's not like doing that is any disrespect towards your general manager. He's had an incredible run there. Maybe it's just time to turn the page when this team is turning the page right now, post, that era where you guys made the Stanley Cup Finals, which was a few years ago now. And it's
2017.
Right. And they're still kind of clinging on to, okay, we still have like a few of these pieces. Maybe we can still move forward with this, but I don't know.
Yeah, personally, but before you let him trade another Fiala or waive another Rem Pitlick, like it'd be smart to maybe find someone else to
thank you. It's Minnesota is north. Ryan Hartman up there. I mean,
I forgot about that.
I love Ryan Hartman.
I love me some Ryan Hartman. And I don't even remember the exact ways that he ended up in Minnesota. I would have to go back and look. But I do remember being very, very upset about losing Ryan Hartman that season.
He took a pay cut for the boys, my friend. That's what you love about Ryan Hartman.
I love.
By the way, Lindsay,
how he plays. I love how he plays.
Lindsay's entered the chat. She said, "Preds win." Hi, Chad.
Yes.
Says,
"Hey, Lindsay. Lindsay's awesome."
Giannaut not becoming Giannaut is becoming my favorite Preds player behind the obvious one. Who's her obvious one?
I think she was referring to Tanner Jeannot.
Okay.
There she goes. There's the
You're always one message short whenever there's a correction, Isha. It's so funny.
Yeah. So Tanner Jeannot is our wrecking ball. He came into the lineup last season. He is he plays with so much aggression and so much just physicality, but he can also score goals. He is just quickly became a fan favorite down here. So everyone go look up Tanner Jeannot. If listen to the podcast and you don't follow the Predators very closely, he is even if you're not a Preds fan, if you're a hockey fan, go watch some Tanner Jeannot footage. He is a fun player to watch. Obvious one for Lindsay. She listens to the podcast a lot. We love Lindsay so much. And her favorite player is David Riddick. She's a big Calgary Flames fan, and she is a big David Riddick fan. And so that's her obvious one there is David Riddick. Okay.
Hey, I mean,
he didn't have a negative impact on the game today, so
there you go. We really want to. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. And Lindsay, I'm sorry for this, but I got to call it like it is. You see a good performance tonight from Connor Ingram, and I'm not saying we got to wait and see when David Riddick's going to be ready to be, and we're trying to figure out who is going to be UC Saros's backup when David Riddick comes back, because Connor Ingram has looked really good. I would still expect David Riddick to be the backup to UC Saros, but I mean, Connor Ingram, I'm sorry. I thought he played a really good game for his first NHL start. And so,
I mean, Chad, he's 1-0. He's 1-0. UC Saros is 1-4. Saros is the backup.
I don't get into win and loss records as much. But yeah, that's
it's like plus minus these days. No, I mean, Chad, Saros is one of my favorite goaltenders in the NHL. And last year, I thought he should have been a higher Vezina vote candidate. I thought that, him. What did he come in at, like 5th in Vezina voting or some bullshit like that?
Somewhere around there.
No,
I know.
he was unbelievable last year. And to be perfectly honest, and this is no disrespect to the Predators, he is the reason that they were relevant had any speck of relevance last year. And I thought he was overlooked by the entire NHL for how outstanding he played. And it sucks he's 1-4 right now, and he didn't even play tonight, because then I would have gone off about that, as Hoppy knows. But no, I think that you guys have a great one in Jussi Saros. I mean, the Nashville Predators goaltending throughout their entire existence has been pretty damn good. The torch has been passed a few times, and it's to great players there. So regardless of who the backup is, he'll be fine.
I saw a crazy stat real quick tonight. So, the team's been around for 21 seasons now, since 1998, and Connor Ingram, who got his first start tonight against the Wild, it was only the 19th goaltender to ever suit up for the Predators.
Wow.
I thought that was a wild stat.
That's
considering
crazy.
How many times people – and that just really speaks to Pekka Rinne and how much he was the workhorse for so long. And even before Pekka Rinne, you had Thomas Vokoun, who was outstanding.
Love Vokoun. Love Vokoun.
And then even if you want to go back to the expansion days – the Preds had Mike Dunham, who I think played for the Rangers before that, and he was kind of towards the end of his career. So the Preds have always had really sturdy goaltending. They've just never been able to have elite centers. They've never been able to have the 100-point scorers or the 90-point scorers. They've never had anything like that. That's always fit in this franchise.
Yeah, when Fisher's your top scorer, you ain't winning Stanley Cups. Love him. Just saying.
Wait, when was Fisher the top scorer?
No, top center. Sorry, top center.
Top center. Well, Ryan Johansen's our top line. Ryan Johansen's our top line center now. He wouldn't be a top line center on – how many teams would he be a top line center on off the top of your head?
Minnesota.
Maybe 3 or 4.
Minnesota.
Really? No, are you serious?
Chad,
absolutely.
Victor Rask or Ryan Johansen? Come on now.
Are you not watching? I'm going to have to go take all this information back to these Preds fans who cannot stand Ryan Johansen.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. Next time the Preds fans bitch about Ryan Johansen, you can say, okay, do you want Ryan Johansen his perceived awful contract, or do you want the guy they traded for him and his awful contract? I think they'll all pick Johansen and shut the fuck up.
Hey, you all can just keep taking former Preds players. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll take him.
Hey, as long as it's not Seth Jones, I'll take him.
Yeah, we'll take him. Oh man. No, I mean, okay, Eric Sinek, he is now the new top center of the Wild, but like last year the running joke was like Victor Rask was our top center. Like, this is insane. Can't complain.
Can I ask you guys how you feel about Kevin Fiala though, because Preds fans still very much miss Kevin Fiala.
Oh, they should miss him because Granlund's garbage, and that was a horrible trade by Poyle, and I was very surprised that he would make that trade.
All right.
I love Kevin Fiala. I was saying this summer that if
we love him too.
Oh man, he's one of the best talents in the National Hockey League. Whether he can put it together every game, that's one thing. But again, he doesn't necessarily have the pieces, especially Minnesota, around him on a line to really get the most out of him. That's my opinion. I love how this player plays the game of hockey, man. Like I was saying in the summer, like if Kaprizov doesn't want to be here, fuck him, because Kevin Fiala actually does, and I'd love to see him as the franchise player. Now, he only signed a 1-year deal, so who knows his future in Minnesota.
He keeps getting dicked around.
Yeah, I really just want this guy to be given the best opportunity to hone his craft, because I don't want the Wild to lose him, and I don't want another team to unlock his potential by putting him with the pieces he needs
with
to
real
be around.
Players.
Exactly. Because who's he playing with tonight, Hoppy? Honestly. And I saw Fiala more than Kaprizov out there tonight. I noticed him a little bit more. But really, who is he playing with?
Gaudreau and Rask.
Well, there you go. Frederick Gaudreau and Victor Rask, Chad. Isn't that
another former? Hey, Freddie G is another former Pred.
Yes, he is.
Love Freddie G. Look, I'm not disappointed with the game he plays. I'm just saying, look at those two players. That should not be who Kevin Fiala is playing with.
I'm looking at the Preds roster right now, and I've got at least 10 players I'm willing to give to the Wild right now.
You give us Johansen?
No joke.
We'll listen.
We'll take anyone that's not Duchesne.
Yeah, anyone but Duchesne.
I mean, yeah, okay. I'm not giving you any of my
conversation
players,
over.
that's for sure. Hey, you
Lindsay,
can have you can have our entire third defensive pairing. How about that? You can have all those guys.
I don't know. Is it better or
All right,
worse than the Minnesota Wild's third defensive pairing?
I don't know.
I'm listening.
Well, I don't know. I guess everyone has problems there. You can have Mark Borowiecki. You can have Matt Benning. You can have you can even have Dante Fabro at this point. Like, I mean, you can have all those guys. You can have our entire defense.
Hey, I'll take we'll take a shot on Fabro. Lindsay commenting some more says she's looking forward to Gianot versus Chucky in Calgary. And also she's thinking the same thing, Chad. Dave is going to have to come and perform after that game from Ingram.
Yeah, she's talking about David Riddick. That's her guy. David Riddick is her guy. She's the world's number one David Riddick fan, like for real. Like, so you got to respect
the number one and only these days, but we absolutely love it.
You know what? I like Kalen Addison more than she likes David Riddick. Let's start that fight.
Oh man, well, Chad, this has been great. We won't keep you too much longer. And honestly, the more the Wild and Nashville play this season, I mean, the keys to the castle are yours. We'll bring you back on for a extended just Soda Pod segment. This segment will appear in Monday's episode of the Soda Pod. So for those of you who are watching, it will be on the Soda Pod podcast tomorrow. Lindsay Hobby saying, bring it on. So there you go. Lindsay, thanks for tuning in late and supporting Chad as he joined us in this segment. But Chad, any closing thoughts on the Minnesota Wild losing to the Nashville Predators 5-2 this evening? And also, where can the folks find you and your work coming up on both Preds Line and the Catfish on Ice podcast, which, by the way, best logo on the Hockey Podcast Network, I think, is Catfish on Ice.
Wow.
But that's just me.
Oh, awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so, you can follow the Catfish on Ice podcast at Catfish Ice. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We just got our YouTube channel fired up, so we're excited about that. Got to get those subscribers up, so if you can get a subscription, we appreciate that. We put all of our episodes that we stream on Twitter. We put that onto our YouTube channel as well and stream it live, so we appreciate that. As far as this Preds game, let's enjoy it tonight. But there's always room for heartbreak in the next Preds game.
Yep. Hey, well said. Well said. Well, Chad, we really appreciate you jumping on here, this post-game segment of our Soda Stream, our watch-along here, Preds, Minnesota Wild, on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube channel. You go get some sleep, my friend, and I'll be tuning into Catfish on Ice this
Tomorrow
week.
night.
And just subscribe to because we actually the Soda Pod just launched our YouTube channel too. Just subscribe from that YouTube account as well. I encourage everyone to go and subscribe to the great Nashville Predators content there on Catfish on Ice. Chad, we really appreciate it. Excited to bring you back on the Soda Pod podcast soon, my friend. Thanks for making time for us today.
Appreciate it. Take care, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, my friend. 3 hours and 28 minutes as it just changed, Hoppy. I'd have to say the quickest, the amount of time that went by the quickest throughout this entire stream was that second period, eh?
Oh, second period just was nothing. Just cruise, no penalties, nothing of relevance happened, just gone. Man. But I do have to quick shout out myself. Somehow in the fantasy league that I play in, Lucas Raymond had not yet been picked up, who we all know that he's eventually going to be a stud, but apparently he is first line, first power play, give me all of that.
Wow.
I picked him up in a tight matchup today, and right now I'm winning by 6 points, and Lucas Raymond with a hat trick and an assist got me almost 14 of those points. So I would not have won without Lucas Raymond, and he will be on my team the rest of the season, no matter how much he sucks.
That's amazing.
I picked up Tomas Hertl his rookie year, the game before he put up the 4 goals and had the Joe Thornton comment. So
really?
Lucas Raymond's my new Tomas Hertl. Let's fucking go.
Lucas Raymond's Hoppy's Hertl. I love that. That's crazy, man. I remember when that game went down. Now I wasn't playing fantasy at that time, but that was unbelievable.
I immediately was pinged by half the people in our league because they saw that 4-goal performance and they saw that he was already on my roster. They're like, how the fuck did you already have him on your team?
Jeez. In the words of Big Joe, stroking it. This was a lot of fun. Thanks to all of our guests who've joined. Chad now just quickly commenting. Thanks for having me on. Keep up the great work, fellas. Go Preds. See you soon. No, Chad's a beauty. And again, editor-in-chief at Preds Lines, the blog there covering all things Nashville Predators on Fansided. So go check that out. And also the Catfish on Ice podcast. It's great. I first connected with Chad almost a year ago, like just under a year ago. So like 9-10 months ago. And, invited this guy to do some podcasting with us on the Hockey Podcast Network. For those of you who don't know, I'm one of the co-creators of the Hockey Podcast Network. And we really just needed some awesome grassroots, just amazing Nashville coverage. And as soon as I saw this guy's work on Preds Lines, I was like, man, if this guy wants to transition into podcasts, I think he'd be perfect for it. And we gave him an opportunity on the network. Him and his co-hosts have just run away with it, and it's truly outstanding. Like, Hoppy knows how big of a Nashville fan I am, so I definitely tune in, and Chad and everyone there are doing great work as well. Thanks to everyone again who joined us watching this live stream and watch along. Thanks again to our guests. We'll quickly run them down here. We had Seth Topol join us right from the top. Alex Micheletti. We had the boss man Jack from 10K Takes. We had Austin there. We had Chad.
Austin of Revelation Ales. Don't you slight their brewery the notoriety.
Revelation Ales, friends of the Soda Pod, contributors to our last Malt Madness, and very excited to
you missed it when you were off running to grab your beer. They're making a peanut butter banana beer as a toast to Elvis.
What? That was the collaboration one that he was talking about? Oh no, just okay. Because I know I came in right when you guys were nearing the end of the beer talk there, and I was heard about his collaboration. But that peanut butter banana, that's right up my alley. Unbelievable. So again, thanks to all the guests. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in and out. We really appreciate it. A 5-2 loss to the Nashville Predators for the Minnesota Wild. A great second period. I mean, the third one they just held on. Not held on. They tried everything they did there, but I mean, it was too far gone. Hopefully they flip the switch, come back stronger in the next game, and hopefully in our next watch along, which we will probably do from our own channel at the Soda Pod. So go subscribe to that if you haven't already. Lindsay's still here commenting. I love it. Hurdle been great for me in fantasy hockey. I mean, he's great for everyone in fantasy hockey. He's a fucking stud. He says, go Preds. Lindsay, I hope you join not just us on our next live stream, whether you're just a fan of hockey, general hockey or not, but the Hockey Podcast Network here on this YouTube channel, which please subscribe to. Please give a like to all the videos. They do watch-alongs covering every team in the National Hockey League. There's more custom content coming out on this channel, so support it. That's the company I started. We really appreciate it. If you go to the hockeypodcastnetwork.com, you'll be able to find a podcast covering every team in the National Hockey League, plus more niche content. But if you like what we bring, if you like our flavor, our niche, if you like craft beer and hockey talk, go check us out at the Soda Pod on social media. We're most active on, we're only active on Facebook and Twitter. And we just launched our YouTube channel as well. So go subscribe to that. That's where most of our live stuff will be popping off in the future. Hopefully our next one, the Wild will have a little bit more success than they did tonight. But hey, c'est la vie. It's the NHL. You can't come in overconfident against just every team. Thanks to those tuning into the podcast version of this on Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The best thing you can do for us this week, any week, is to give us 5 stars and a kind review on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. And like I mentioned, if you want more hockey content through our company, go check us out, thehockeypodcastnetwork.com. And on your app, don't forget, please download the episodes before you listen, as it just helps our business. Again, don't forget to follow myself at VA Sports Talk. You can follow Hoppy at State of Hoppy. You can follow the Soda Pod at the Soda Pod, and the Hockey Podcast Network at Hockey Pod Net. Whew, I think we got through everything there, Hoppy? One more quick shout out to our partners. We got DraftKings. Don't forget to use promo code THPN upon sign up. And if you're a regular user, plug that promo code in for a weekly deal. You're sporting the shirt at 7th Ave Pizza. Again, Big thanks to our friends at 7th Ave and, of course, Northland Vodka. Signing off, I'm Isha Dromi alongside the State of Hoppy. This has been the Soda Pod, the Hockey Podcast Network's Watch Along, presented by DraftKings, 7th Ave, and Northland Vodka. We good, man?
We good.
Don't fear. Just drink some beer. We'll catch you on the rebound. Stay wild.